Crossover. Oh, killer crossover.
Just crossover.
It just crossed him over. Absolutely.
Another victim to the crossovers. Cross him up and sit him down.
Time for the crossover, powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. Good morning, Josh and Matt. Matt and Josh.
Hello. Good morning.
How you doing?
Doing great. Got some good night's sleep. Had some back-to-back nights of not great sleep of
I haven't been sleeping well either.
Waking up at 3:00.
But I have a child.
Waking up. I don't know what it is with me. I've always been a light sleeper. I don't know. It's my mom has the same kind of thing where it's like anything can wake us up at any moment type deal. It has been weird though, where it's like there have been moments where I wake up at 4:15 and I'm like, okay, I got 2 hours before I have to get back up. And I feel like I close my eyes and then I open up my eyes 20 minutes later and it's 7 a.m. I'm like, whoa, that was not fulfilling in any way, shape, or form. That did not help the situation.
You'll find, I hate to make this listen up here.
Yeah.
You'll find that sleep for the rest of your life is largely unsatisfying.
I've cut out naps from my life.
The thing with sleep and naps is that they always sound like great ideas.
Yeah.
And you always think that it will help you and it will always do something to you. But it's very hit and miss. Unless you do it consistently, unless you do hey, I'm going to go to bed at 10 o'clock and I'm going to wake up at 7 every morning forever. Then you could get really consistent with it.
Sure.
And that would be very beneficial to your health.
Very.
But I don't think that's going to exist.
No, not right now.
So you are
in this current stage.
Everybody listening, you're not alone. Matt is with you. I am with you. Sleep is unsatisfying.
There are moments,
but I'm not a sleep why bother guy.
Sure.
I love the idea of sleep. It just never helps me like I want it to.
It's kind of like sleep is like Junior Lake. I love the idea of what Junior Lake could have been in the left field of the Chicago Cubs in 2014.
Sleep is like Junior Lake.
But I loved the idea. It never came to fruition, though.
No,
it never really panned out the way you wanted it to, but you still think about sleep as if it really did work out. It really was good for you.
Oh, yeah. You could always say, well, it's always an excuse. I didn't get enough sleep.
And you could say, Junior Lake not working out did lead the Cubs to having to draft Ian Happ. And Ian Happ ended up working out.
Interesting.
And me not being able to sleep led me to just go to work earlier, which makes the show better.
There you go.
So you just kind of figure
you just make it work.
You do.
It's a day-to-day thing. Shout out to sleep though.
I have cut out naps though, because I've just found that they just waste the middle of the day for me, and I don't want to waste the middle.
You
of the
can
day.
really get sucked into it.
All of
a sudden it's 5 o'clock and you're like, what did I do?
Well, the thing is too is that there will be times where I took a nap at 3, and I'll wake up at 5, and then I'll think, who cares? What am I going to do anyway? I'm just going to sleep for another hour, and then so you sleep until 6, and then you're like, well, the game's not on until 7. I don't really have to do anything until 7 o'clock. All right, cool. I'll just take another 30 minutes, 45 minutes.
You got to just force yourself.
And then all of a sudden, if you've slept 3 hours and 45 minutes, that's no longer a nap.
Yeah.
That's just, I went to bed. Yeah. And then you're up until 2 a.m.
I'm happy for you that you have the amount of freedom in your life to be like, I think I'll do another hour.
Yeah.
I think I'll do another
Seriously,
hour. 1 hour to me is
so much time.
It's like $1,000. Would you rather have an extra hour or $1,000?
I would take $1,000.
I don't know, man. An extra hour sounds pretty sick. Extra hour to just do whatever.
How
to just mess around?
How much would
freedom?
How much better would your life be if there were 25 hours in a day?
Well, I mean,
so
if you're
then,
doing
whoa.
If you're doing that, it would make it
and then it wouldn't matter anymore because then you just get, then you take it for granted.
Just like an extra free hour.
Okay. So what you're referring to is
let's fake out.
Let's say it's 4 o'clock and I go, Connor Happer, I will give you $1,000.
Yeah.
Or I can make it 3 o'clock right now. you would say.
That is the question.
That is the question.
So yeah.
Happer, do you want $1,000 or we go from
I
4
take
o'clock?
I take $1,000.
You take $1,000.
I take $1,000.
I would take $1,000 in a heartbeat.
If you manipulate it,
have you manipulated space-time continuum? You have 3 days in one day.
No, but I'm saying
6 a.m. to 12 p.m. That's day 1. 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. That's day 2.
Same question, but you move it down to like $100.
Okay, what if I gave you
Would
two?
you take $100 or it to be an hour earlier? And you have still accomplished the things that you accomplished in that hour. Like
for me, I would take $100.
I would take the extra hour, maybe $100.
I bought
$100.
I bought some sick shoes yesterday.
You go win it at blackjack
for $80.
$100. Who needs $100?
I kind of need I like $100.
You can make the extra $100 in the hour where you get back for free.
I have thought of that before. Not that I need to do this, but I have just always tinkered with the thought of like, what would happen if I looked up on Google how to make money very quick? Like, what would the answers that I would get, and would I be able to benefit from that?
The truth is, you have to actually work.
Well, the thing is that if I were to look that up, that money would just go to the casino.
Right.
It really wouldn't go to bills or anything official. Now, I will say this.
Good for you.
I think I officially became I've now lived in Nebraska for
a year.
6 years.
Oh yeah. 6 years.
Basically.
Sure.
And I understand that like I wasn't born in Nebraska, so I'm not like a Nebraskan, and it's gonna take a lot more than 6 years for me to ever be in officially like one of a Nebraskan.
What are you trying to convince me that you've received your Nebraskan card? What have you done?
Is the Visa Shields card a Nebraskan card?
Ooh. No.
Is that a step closer being is that a step closer toward me being a Nebraskan? Me signing up and receiving the Shields Visa card that gives me cash back specifically to be used at Shields?
I don't think so, because I don't think there's enough Nebraskans that probably have it. I would say you get your Nebraskan card when wow, what do you
I think the minimum requirement for the Nebraskan card is a decade to 15 years in the state.
Yeah.
And it can vary
there has to be a moment. There has to be a moment.
Like I'll say and it's dependent. The 10 to 15 years is dependent on your contribution towards the state. Like, for example, like Kyle Crooks is the announcer of Nebraska football, right? He would probably get his Nebraskan card probably, on the closer to decade mark.
He has lived a much more Nebraskan year than you have.
1,000,000%
lived a
yes.
Nebraskan.
How many? I've been here for 6 years, but how many Nebraskan years have I lived? Is the question.
Great question. I don't know.
Like out of my 6 years,
you do love
here,
Shields.
I do love Shields.
You walk around Shields. I have the Shields card.
I know. Yeah, who doesn't, man? $75 off your first purchase. I got a free.
They're parked on the lawn every weekend over there.
So like they'll, for whatever X amount of money you spend, they send you like a $25 gift card.
Yeah.
So I just receive $25 gift cards from Shields all the time.
It's just it's at this point, it's like I literally go there twice a week, and I would say 50% of the time I actually buy things. And it's just like when I do buy things, I might as well get a credit for it.
It's quite the journey out there for you.
That's only 20 minutes.
Yeah.
That's not. I like going west. There's a lot of things in West Omaha.
Man. Josh, any ideas on the Nebraskan card?
I was trying to think. It's got to be when you pull a bush light out over, quote unquote, finer beers.
Yeah, but the problem.
Shotgunning ranch.
The problem with that is that's just act. You could get away with that by just acting Nebraskan.
Mm-hmm.
You can play as a Nebraskan for a weekend.
Sure, that is true.
You go out with the boys.
I've done that.
Like hunting or fishing.
Yeah, I've gone raccoon hunting.
You can be a Nebraskan but you in order to be a Nebraskan.
Yeah,
and not just act as a Nebraskan. It takes time.
Once again, I've been here for 6 years, but how many Nebraskan years have I earned?
I think it's something from the it could be Sorry, Michael. It could be like a weather thing.
Okay.
Like you accept that what we have had over the last couple of days from a weather perspective is just a blip on the radar,
Sure.
and you don't make these proclamations that it is spring
It's not
or
real.
something like that. You things that can only come from experience.
I think it's knowing the roads. I think it's knowing when certain places are at its best.
Now that is probably an Omaha thing.
I think it's in Lincoln. It was a big deal too. Like when you talk to the Lincolnites over there, it was a pretty big deal of like knowing the roads and knowing like where what was. I think it's more so Omaha than it is Lincoln. I agree with that. But
People
I still
love talking about where businesses used to be.
That is true. I will say this. The first couple months of the crossover from the morning show,
You probably learned a lot.
I hated it. I hated it.
But did you retain any of that information?
I mean, yeah. When I eventually was like, there's a Rocket car wash on 168th and Blondo. Like that's useful.
Did you have to search for that? I mean, they're all just everywhere.
We're talking about like when Johnny Sortino's.
I'm gonna be. I didn't really retain any of that information, and honestly, it was just kind of painstaking to sit there for 12 minutes at a time as a bunch of people who've lived here for almost longer than I've been alive.
So
just talk about a bunch of things that I can't go to.
Maybe it's baked in here, and you have received somewhat of a punch on your Omaha card recently because you frequented a business that has now closed.
Yes, Sandpoint and Jericho's.
Jericho's was the one I was thinking of. An Omaha staple, 50 years,
Went there
closed.
twice last week.
You saw it.
I did.
So you could tell people the tale of Jericho's.
Can't believe Jericho's closed.
I can't either.
Like
I don't know what happened.
When I came here, so like Sarah Baker Hansen,
Maybe it
which
was
I
just
have to
time.
get on, and I want to have her on the midday show because I love talking to her about food. She did the Steak Town USA, and she went to all these different steak restaurants, and she did a great job of like mixing in the classic steak restaurants with like, hey, these are kind of on the up
New
and
age.
up, And she went to Jericho's, and it was like a 20-minute love fest of like the place and like how it was classic and all the memories people
Jericho's
had.
is what it is, baby.
It was so many people's like we had
Jericho's
people
ain't trying to be not Jericho's.
we had so many people email in being like,
That's probably why it closed.
this was our birthday spot, or I got engaged here, or we had our like anniversary dinners here, or like I had all these people like talking about how much they love this place. And then all of a sudden on a whim, this man, Josh Odson, walks in here and goes, yeah, it's closing down this week.
Jericho's is dead.
I'm going twice.
I'm going twice.
I'm going to tell you right now.
The last time I went to Jericho's will forever be the last post-college World Series.
Wow.
That memory will live in my head forever.
I went on a like
with Chris Prudon telling me what to do. It's like I've been here before, Chris.
I went on a Friday. Just it was when we did like toy drive over by Ostad's on Center.
Yeah.
And I just went there before I went over to the toy drive, and I just sat down at like 2:30. Just had a prime rib and had mashed potatoes.
At where?
At Jericho's.
Oh, okay.
And I just sat down and I just had a prime rib.
Of course you did.
Had fried mushrooms and
but that's what I'm saying.
had
You,
mashed
so you get a
potatoes.
punch. Maybe
it
it's
was
like,
incredible.
Maybe
it
it's
was
like
really good.
You accumulate 5 punches and then you get your Omaha card. That's a punch.
That's a punch.
Having been to a loved restaurant that is now closed.
Okay.
That is a punch.
I argue
congratulations.
Is bitching and moaning and learning and then complaining and then bitching and moaning and complaining and then learning more about the streetcar another punch? Because
you have existed in a pre-streetcar world.
And I have now done enough. Like I now say to Omahans, they're going to spend $500 million on that just for a bunch of tourists to get around.
No, incorrect. No one to get around.
Is that a punch in my card?
You forgot about the unhoused.
You're getting closer. You also have to mention how many businesses along the route have closed.
Is complaining about about Blackstone. I've actually complained a lot about Blackstone, how it's a ghost town and how it's a shame that no people are down there at 12 o'clock on a Friday and this place should be bussing. And it's an absolute shame that the mayor, that was her claim to fame.
Almost punching. Almost punching.
Almost there. Almost there.
There you go. Got one. How many times have you been to the Lexus Club?
4.
Omaha. That's probably an Omaha punch.
4.
Did you hear the sweet jazz tunes on a Saturday
No,
afternoon
but
in
I
the
think-
concourse at a Creighton game?
I think what is an Omaha Punch.
I don't think they play the saxophones anymore,
Really?
do they?
I haven't been this year.
Do they play the saxophones in the concourse anymore on Saturday home games?
Sam Plattcat.
I haven't seen one in a while. I haven't heard one in a while.
One of the more like I don't get me wrong. I very much enjoy doing Blue Jay overtime. Okay.
You keep saying that, and it really makes me believe you.
Uh-huh.
You always say it. I really enjoy it, so I'm forced to think that you enjoy
love
it.
Blue Jay overtime. You've told me how much you enjoy listening to Blue Jay.
No, it doesn't
overtime.
mean it's not good. I'm trying to figure out if you like.
Well, Connor thinks you do a great job, and it's clearly because you love it so much.
I can tell the love really comes through the radio.
It's one of those things where, doing Blue Jay overtime has limited my ability to go to the Lexus Club, which has been disappointing. But I do think what is a part of the Omaha punch card when it comes to the Lexus Club is the first time I went to the Lexus Club, I had the buffet. Like I did the buffet. Like
I don't think I've ever done that.
Like I paid $35 for all that stuff. By the way, the checks are up on Canada right now. And Jordan Binnington is low-key having a stinker.
Hello.
And if they can keep committing penalties,
Poll
David
question:
Pasternak is going
Is
to keep
Jordan
scoring.
Binnington low key having a stinker?
He is giving up 2 goals on 9 shots. They keep finding themselves in the sin bin. And you got Pasta out there. And if you keep putting Pasta with a man down, he's going to keep making you pay.
When Matt talks about hockey, he just tries to squeeze in as many terms as he possibly can.
I know,
That
just
shows that he knows what he's
hockey.
talking about.
Yeah, well, that, and I know that I can naturally squeeze in as many terms as possible with you just so I can get that reaction of like, what are you talking about?
No, I know what you're talking about.
Who's Pasta?
I know what you're trying to do.
Who's Pasta?
You're trying to show everyone how much you enjoy hockey, which has already been very clear to me for a long time.
Who's Pasta?
I don't care.
David Pasta.
Travis Pastrana.
No, it's not Travis Pastrana.
I always thought his name was Travis Pasta Strana. All right, here's some tweets. This is Jason. Maybe you need a little more, but taking part in Temperature Tuesday at Runza should be on the Nebraskan punch card.
Which, real quick, used to run January, February, now only January.
Yeah, see, there you get a punch for that. You get a punch for saying that. You get a punch for saying that.
Wasn't going for a punch, but
I think you got one.
He doesn't
We'll
complaining about
take
how
it.
Temperature Tuesday used to be better than it is now.
Yeah.
That's a Nebraska punch
By
card.
the way, I just think complaining about how everything used to be better back then than it is now is just a Nebraska punch card.
I'm just saying they used to do it for 8 weeks. Now they do it for 4.
Literally,
Cheap corporate
the
bastards.
CWS used to be better in Rosenblatt. Nebraska football used to be better when there were walk-ons and
I actually
Nebraskans
don't
running
think
the
it was
ball.
better when it smelled like piss the entire time.
But
Hot take by me.
But
it was different.
there was
it had
by the-
soul.
Can I tell you right now my least favorite saying? My least favorite saying in sports is there was just a charm to it. There was just a charm to it. No, there
What do you
wasn't.
mean?
There wasn't a charm to it. You just like thinking about your childhood when you know and looking back on
You
it
don't
fondly.
think charm exists?
I think that charm is overrated. I think that if things are just
That
better,
could be true.
I think if just things are just better than what they were, things are just better than what they were. It doesn't matter what the charm
No,
of
but
it
there's
used to be.
categories. It's not a one size fits all
I'm
here.
going to tell you right now, if I was measuring
Undoubtedly,
amenities,
Rosenblatt has more charm.
I agree. But if I'm
It has discernible qualities.
if I'm weighing amenities to charm, I would rather have much better amenities than more charm.
that's a personal taste.
There it is.
That's up to you. That's
a
not
take.
the case for many. Many people would say, I would take the charm. I would take the piss. Give me the piss.
Now I will say this.
That's
Mike.
what they would say about
That's what
Rose.
they would say.
They would say,
I would
color
take the
those
piss.
seats red and make them 1,050 degrees.
Poll question.
Kelvin.
Poll question. The Chuck or piss?
People have been having the debate for years.
For years.
Yeah. Kevin Costner won't come here anymore. He loved the piss.
People are starting to, I mean, there's every year we say this for the College World Series, there's more and more, it starts to feel more and more like home.
Yeah.
So maybe what we should say this year is there's more and more piss.
I think what is
It's getting pissier by the year.
What's the piss meter on the Chuck right now?
It's getting there.
Yeah.
It's getting close.
out of scale to brand new to piss. Where are we?
We get more drunk SEC fans doing Jello shots up here. It'll smell like piss real quick.
I think that the true definition of charm are troughs. Okay.
Oh, they had those.
Are urinals more convenient? Are they more sanitary? Are they more, secluded? Are they more isolated? Are they just kind of
So I thought
more
you were.
wait.
I thought you were an amenities guy.
Are they just in general just kind of more efficient, at times? Maybe. Right? Are they just nicer? Yeah.
Tell me what you are.
But would I rather piss in a trough? You're damn right I would.
So are you an amenities guy or not?
But I'm saying that, like, to a certain extent there's charm, but it's just like if we're getting to the point where the place is just a dump, I'm over the charm of the place.
Okay.
Like
Usually
if it's
that
like
place has troughs.
there's a certain line. Like charm is a boost. It's like a +3 multiplier. But if you're just so crap, it doesn't matter that it's +3 anymore. Give me the amenity.
I think you could have got probably 2 punches for supporting Rosenblatt.
I never went there.
You declined.
I never went there.
Yeah, well,
okay.
you don't get those punches.
Wait. Would I get is 2 punches worth being a phony? Because if I supported Rosenblatt, but I never saw a baseball game there, and I never
No,
walked
I just
through
think those
there,
punches weren't available for you.
exactly.
Probably.
There's a lot of punches that just aren't available.
Yeah. When the bats went ping, and people were in grave danger because the exit velocities were too high.
The
gorilla bats in the gorilla era.
Schaefer Texkin.
Hi, Mike.
Why is Matt so obsessed with shields?
Great question. A question that we asked a long time
I ask
ago.
that every weekend when I drive by on Dodge and wonder why people are parked on the grass.
Seriously, just there's a lot of stores.
I just think that it's just got a lot of things. It's got a lot of nice things. You learn a lot about what the markets look like for certain things that you're interested in.
What are you talking about?
Do you know that a smoker, like I know how much smokers cost. I know how much Traegers cost. I know how much seasoning costs. I know how much, chatterbaits are going for a lot
So you
nowadays.
go to Shields and only Shields to find out how much stuff costs?
I go to Shields.
There's the internet.
I go to Shields
Price is Right.
to get a coffee, to get some,
Fudge.
to get some pecans. I get the pecans.
Okay.
That's
a healthier alternative.
I like the white fudge.
I get the pecans, and I have my cup of coffee, and I have my pecans, and I walk around. I go,
remember
how
when
much
they put in the fudge place, and I was like, what is going on?
And I go, how much would it cost to get fully fitted for a set of new TaylorMades? And I go, whoa, I can never afford that. And then you just keep walking around and doing.
There's
and
golf
then
stores.
And then you go to the dart section. You're like, I need new tips for my darts, or I need new wings for my darts. Let me go ahead and pick that up.
Yeah.
Oh wow, they got a pretty impressive section of shoes. Oh, these are on sale. Let me pick these up. Nice, good deal, Matt. Oh wow, a polo here only cost $35. I need a new polo. All right, I'll grab that today.
I haven't bought a football in a long time. I think I want to buy a football.
I have a lot. We used to buy
I want to buy a football with stripes on it. I want to buy a college football. What do you guys think?
I think that's great. I think that's a great investment.
How much do you think a football will run me?
Probably 30.
Like a real football.
Like 30?
That
I think
sounds
30
right.
No, it's got to be like 65.
No way. I'll be real with you.
I'm talking about a real foot, like an Adidas or a Nike football.
As of 2 years ago, I was buying footballs every year because of like our Thanksgiving football game.
Yeah.
And we would kind of every 2 years we would get a new football.
It's got to be at least 60.
It wasn't that much. Josh Hodson, can we do some research?
I'm on the Wilson website right now. You're all familiar with Wilson.
Yes.
$21.95 on the Wilson website.
Yeah.
I'm talking about a real football, like not this crappy
I don't think
rubber
that's
football.
I don't think that's a
like
fake
I'm
football.
talking about a gamer, man.
That's the team that makes the Duke. Wilson.
It's not that much. It's not $65. You gotta look. Inflation has happened, but it hasn't.
So you're
happened
telling me
that
it
much.
hit hats, but not footballs?
Yes,
that's ridiculous.
Spring training hats, $45.
I saw one for 60.
Let's all,
just
as a
because
society,
they have little flowers on them.
I should not be inciting violence. We've learned in the past that that's not the way to do it. I say we hit Fanatics HQ with torches and
I was about to
pitchforks.
say.
It's time to go.
I was about to say. So Fanatics got bought by, or Lids got bought by Fanatics, right? And I went to Nebraska Crossing.
I got a text to say the football costs $50.
No way.
That's what a person who I trust implicitly said.
Your wife?
No, it's not my. Well, I do trust her implicitly, but this is she does not know how much a football costs.
I went to Nebraska Crossing, right? Went to the outlet. I actually bought these at Nebraska Crossing a couple days ago.
A Nike football is $120 at Shields.
That's what I'm talking about.
No way.
That's what I'm talking
What are you talking
That's
about?
what
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I felt it was important.
That is insanity. I will never buy a football. I don't need a football.
Right.
Congrats.
I like looking at the football, but this was to your point about walking around and seeing stuff at Shields. I like looking at the footballs, touching the footballs.
Yeah.
I always think about buying a nice basketball hoop that I have nowhere to put.
That's the Dick's Sporting Goods experience. Dick's Sporting Goods always had the best basketball hoops that you would never buy.
But these days, less and less. I don't have time to just be strolling around places.
They just got also too, like I've looked into buying like full-size football helmets, to like display, but I don't have anywhere to display them. Like dude, at the College World Series next year, it is going to take a lot for me not to buy something from that memorabilia stand where they have all the signed jerseys and signed helmets. And
you were there you were there like once a day,
dude.
Towards the end of the series last year.
Like I wanted to negotiate with the guy. Like I wanted to like haggle him, and he wouldn't budge. I was just like, that's a shame.
That makes sense. He's selling it.
He had a Reggie Bush signed jersey.
Yeah,
and I was so close.
He probably figures that he could sell it at the price that he listed.
Oh, 1,000,000%. I had no leverage. I had no leverage and no pull.
Shout out to the College World Series of Piss, and we'll be there very, very soon. 4 months away.
What was I saying though before the football thing?
Fanatics bought lids.
They bought lids. Go to Nebraska Crossing. I pick out a hat, and I get it was the Bears hat I got. It was $35. I was like, this is all right, whatever. So I buy it. That's way too much, by the way, for the type of hat that I got. And I had the tag on the inside of the hat, okay? And it was $35. But I realized that there were pieces of tape under the $35
pieces
tag.
of flair.
So
how many pieces of flair do you have?
I go ahead and I don't know what that quote is.
Nah, he probably doesn't.
I went ahead and I scratched out the one sticker that said $35, and it was $32. Then I scratched off scratch off 32, said 29.
Yep.
Then I scratched off 29, said 25. And I was like, what are we doing here? This hat has been sitting on the shelf for so long that they've been able to put on 5 more stickers and up the price by $10. This is absolutely ridiculous.
You would think that it would go the other way, Matt.
That's what I thought. I thought that the stickers under it were like, wow, this was more expensive.
Some idiot like you will walk in and just look at it and say, I like it, and buy it.
I didn't look at the price of the hat until it got scanned. And
I would never either.
35.
If I wanted something, I would just buy it.
I looked at it. I go, that's cool. I need a Bears hat. I grabbed it. I assumed it was like $24.99. But then I'm also too, Connor, you get to the cashier and the cashier scans it.
This happened to me bad once.
You're not going to say, oh, that's too much. Unscan it. I'm already in it.
I went to this is bad. I went to Morimoto when it's a nice
sushi restaurant,
whatever restaurant. Yeah. I'd been to one in Vegas before at the MGM Grand. It's great. We had a great experience.
Wow. Brag
we
about
all
it.
got the omakase thing where they just
bring
out a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm like, this is great. It was a reasonable price. And I'm like, let's do it again. So we went to a different Morimoto in California, and like, let's do the omakase, and it says the number by it, and I'm like, we can handle that if that's what it is. But something went awry. Something happened, and we spent at least 5 times that on dinner, and it was one of the most shocking checks I've ever received.
How?
I don't know. Something went wrong. We might have taken the deluxe path. It might have been per. I don't know.
Were you eating it at the time and you were like, wow, this is a great deal?
No,
okay.
No, I wasn't thinking that it was going to be a great deal. I knew that it was going to be expensive. I didn't think it was going to be that expensive. It was my own stupidity, and it was costly. It was costly.
How costly?
I don't think I'd like to say.
Okay,
but
they're okay.
I don't think I'd like to say, but it was. I don't spend that. I spend a lot on dinner occasionally. I don't spend that much on dinner.
That happened to me at a date that I went on. I was like, all right,
it's inappropriate.
What?
The dinner, the price of the dinner. I was just commenting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm listening.
I thought a dinner was going to be what it was. I'll just say this: we bought the things we bought, and I was like, all right, I'm sitting 90. Like I'm sitting like 80, 90. Check comes out before tip, by the way, double. And I'm like,
you were way off.
I was way off. I was double. It was 160.
Yeah.
before tip. And I thought it'd be like 80.
Okay. My situation that I was describing was significantly worse.
No, I know. I think there's no point. I was trying to relate to you, but I was like, there's no point in saying that story unless it's going to be
different deal.
Well, at least it was omakase. I would love to have an omakase.
It was nice.
At least was it a good meal?
I enjoyed myself.
Because I got broken up with after mine. So
Damn
that
it.
was-
I did not. It was
Yeah.
with my wife and my friend and his wife.
Yeah, I spent
Yeah.
$100, almost $200.
We were in wine country.
Almost
with Vince.
$200 on this woman, and then it was like, I don't think this is going to work out. I'm like, oh, isn't that
No,
convenient for you?
We all went home.
Oh, isn't that great for you? That I just after your beautiful sushi dinner at a place that no longer exists.
Oh,
It got closed down not too
Wow.
far after
Punch.
the date.
It's gone. Yeah, that's another Omaha punch for you. By the way, I got a tweet. Who sent me a picture of a GST balls we used in high school. The GSTs apparently cost $120 now. Gamer, $120 for a GST. I don't like the GSTs anymore.
I'll give you
The laces are too heightened.
I'll give you a football.
They're too raised.
I'll give you a Duke NFL football next. I go home next weekend. I'll bring one back.
No, I want one with stripes. I want a college football. I don't like NFL footballs.
Okay.
This is very specific. If I'm gonna get a football, I want a stripe on it.
Because
I want
I'm
to
just
be able
laughing
to throw a
because
perfect.
you just locked in really quick.
I want to be able to throw a perfect spiral and be able to see it.
Okay.
You know.
I can't help you, but I tried.
Yep. I want to be
appreciate
like Dennis Dixon.
That is the crossover, powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. I'm pissed off. We'll have a conversation about that coming up next on Middays with Matt.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're gonna hurt some people.
Whose car are we gonna take?
I have a lot of things I want to get off my chest.
That's an absolutely horse crap call.
Make room for Daddy. But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Chicago is.
This is Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Live here from 50th and Capitol. It's 1620 The Zone, presenting Middays with Matt McMaster, joined by Josh Odson. A little annoyed you took a day off. Because now I can't say, as always. That was our thing,
Yeah,
Josh.
That
was our intro. That was our staple, as always. Matt McMaster, joined by Josh Odson.
It was a good run.
But just 99% of the time, see, it just doesn't roll off the tongue.
Really doesn't.
Like as it used to. Like, why were you so selfish
That's right.
and took a day off to be with your child?
I got to point the thumb at this one. This one's on me.
Or you can slap the phone away from your face. That's another.
My priorities are out of whack.
Well,
I'm going to get better.
I shouldn't be talking. My priorities are not being in studio next Friday to go to a wrestling event. So
it's a big one.
It is a very
what's
big
in that
one.
crate.
I really don't care.
Oh no,
I'm not like.
Have
sorry.
some fun. You're in that point where you're in your 20s and you're like, I'm too cool for stuff.
No, I'm not at that point. I'm just like, there have been too many points in my life in terms of pro wrestling where I get really, really excited about a rumor or really excited about an ominous object. And then it just ends up being nothing.
I'm ready to get hurt again.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I am too. It'll be an interesting elimination chamber. I can't wait for Javon Evans to turn into Kofi Kingston circa 2009. The Beast Incarnate will be in that chamber.
Poor boy.
And at least they gave him the win, right? To get to the chamber. They put the kid over, but it's not your night, son, Arn Anderson. So anyway, we just segue into pro wrestling, which we won't talk about. What we will talk about is what occurred last night. Nebraska basketball suffered their fourth loss of the season against the Iowa Hawkeyes on the road in Iowa City, Hawkeye Carver Arena, which it was brought to my attention from Connor Happer that pictures online didn't make Hawkeye Carver look the arena to look very good, very full. But the broadcast did a good job of making it seem like it was a raucous atmosphere.
The court at the end of the game looked like it had a lot of people on it.
Exactly. There were a lot. Like, I would love to know from a Hawkeye fan, are the people who are sitting sideline, like with their backs facing the hard cam, are those people always into the game as much as they were? Like, are they almost always a part of the game as much as they were last night? Because they were really into it. They were like making calls and yelling at the referee and like acted like Ben McCollum on the sideline. It was quite the sight. It was quite the view to see. But yesterday, Nebraska basketball lost. I'm not happy about it. Last night sucked for multiple reasons. We'll get into all those reasons throughout the show. We actually spent a lot of time in the Nebraska basketball game that occurred last night, just because I think there's a lot of ways to attack it. You can talk about the game specifically. You can talk about why they lost. You can talk about certain stats. You can talk about, should we be worried about certain things that happened last night that also happened against Purdue that could happen in the future against other higher quality opponents? Should we not be worried? How many moral victories do you take? And you can, kind of spin zone it into how you look at the rest of the season and so on and so forth. So we can go ahead and talk a lot about Nebraska basketball today. We'll also talk about some Creighton basketball as they're on the road in Storrs, Connecticut, taking on UConn. One of the best teams in the country. We're going to have Jon Walker on at 11 a.m. To talk about Creighton's game tonight against one of the best teams in the country, the UConn Huskies. So Whiskey Walker will join us at 11 a.m. We'll also talk about just kind of the overall topsy-turvy night in college basketball. Had some interesting results. SLU, our sweet baby Billikens. What happened?
Oh, no.
They lost to Rhode Island.
Rhode Island?
Rhode Island, the former home of Mr. Dan Hurley. pulled off a big win. They were a 9.5-point underdog last night.
The Fighting Lamar Odoms won.
The Fighting Lamar Odoms did indeed win. Who else? Who was that? He got drafted not too long ago from Rhode Island. And I don't know if he really panned out in the NBA.
Catino Mobley.
I don't know. Not Catino Mobley. Okay. But anyway, big win for the Billikens. Miami of Ohio stayed undefeated. The Fighting Will Wades of NC State pulled off, kicked the ass of UNC. That game was never competitive. Wisconsin just had one of those nights, and Michigan wagon. Like, officially a wagon. Maybe only beating Nebraska by 3 points and having everybody tell the Wolverines, wow, how'd you only beat Nebraska by 3 without Frager and Rink Mask? Lit a fire under their butt. So you're welcome, Michigan. You're welcome. Ann Arbor should be thankful for Lincoln. That is my take.
Wow.
You're welcome, Dusky May.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. You're welcome. They dominated Purdue. Buzzer to buzzer. Stiff-armed them all the way through. Was up by 20 at one point. Just hell of a win from a really well-constructed basketball team. And a coach that, look, Darren DeVries is one hell of a coach. Okay? Darren DeVries is going to do a great job in Indiana. Okay? I don't think anybody in the Omaha area needs to be told how good of a coach D-Rock is. I still think, though, regardless, despite the fact that Indiana has a really good future and will be a contender in the Big Ten under Darren DeVries, I still think if you're an Indiana fan, considering the fact that Dusky May was a basketball manager at Indiana and, from sources and articles dreamed of having the Indiana basketball job, and you could have fired Mike Woodson 1 year before you did and grabbed Dusky May from FAU before Michigan did, I still think if you're an Indiana fan, you're you have a bitter taste in your mouth in the fact that Dusky May wanted to be the head coach, or it seemed like Dusky May wanted to be the head coach of Indiana, and instead he goes to Michigan, and Michigan isn't. They are, bar none. I haven't looked at DraftKings. If they aren't the favorite, I don't know what DraftKings are looking at to win the national title. Michigan, absolutely incredible. So we'll talk about all of that later in the show. Wednesdays on a show that used to air from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. called The Connor Happer Show. Used to be a day where you gave all of your opinions. We called it I Have an Opinion. Today we are going to do the opposite because there is a conversation that is being had surrounding, and it's surrounding the NBA, but it's more to do, it's not as much to do with the NBA as much as it's to do with the principle, and that's tanking. Everybody is talking about tanking and the solutions to tanking and, what they would do and how to stop tanking. I don't have an opinion. I don't have an opinion when it comes to stopping tanking.
Mark it down.
I don't have an opinion.
10:38 Wednesday, February 18th. Matt McMaster does not have an opinion.
If someone were to ask me, Matt, how would you solve tanking? I would look at them and say, I don't care. I don't have an opinion. I don't know what to tell you. Right? I was listening to the Bill Simmons pod today. And he brought up a great point. He's like, tanking solution might be one of the very few things in sports where everybody sits down and says, all right, I got it. Which is right. It seems like everybody has an opinion on how to stop it. I don't. I'll explain to you why I don't have an opinion, because I just think it's so dumb to begin with. We'll also talk about some under the radar news happened this morning. Thomas Hammock, the Northern Illinois college football head coach, is going to Seattle. He is going to go ahead and be an assistant coach for the Seahawks this upcoming season. He leaves in February in the season that Northern Illinois will be moving to the Mountain West. It's a big deal for Northern Illinois. They've been a staple of the MAC for so many years, and they're now going to the MW. And it's a very, important time in the history of Northern Illinois college football when you're moving conferences, playing different opponents. The travel isn't going to be easy, right? I don't know if Northern Illinois is really looking forward to going to Honolulu, but Thomas Hammock leaving Northern Illinois to become an assistant in the NFL, I think is another indication of we've just kind of lost the heart and soul of what college football used to be about. And we'll talk about more of that. MLB Players Association or MLB Players Association?
All right, that got a groan from me, but I'm going to allow it.
So dumb.
What was that guy thinking?
What? Out of, like, we're going to have a fun little, might have a fun little combo about it. Dude, like, out of anybody, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Just a lot of follow-up questions I'm not going to get any answers to.
One of the dumbest things that just, talk about just being tone deaf, you know? So just talk about just having no just greed of any sort of, first off, talk about having no respect for your family, okay? Just number one. And then just having zero just sort of understanding of just how crappy of a thing that is and just how it would never end well. That would never go any other way other than ending in terribly dramatic fashion. The funny thing was, too, is that we thought, oh, okay, Tony Clark, he's getting out of Dodge because investigations are coming through.
Oh, he's not a wartime concierge. Like,
they're
kicking him out before the hard work begins.
Yeah. Well, this guy, he was here for 13 years.
Nope.
Nope. Not doing that at all. Not even close. And had nothing to do with not wanting to get through the nitty gritty.
I love
had nothing to do with the federal investigations that's happening on the MLB Players Association. Nope. The guy decided to cheat on his wife with his wife's sister. What a dummy. What an idiot. And what an ass, too. The guy, what an ass.
This sentence. Union Chief Tony Clark resigned after an internal investigation revealed an inappropriate relationship with his sister-in-law, a union employee, with players debating later in the day. That, her being a union employee makes it worse.
Can you imagine, no, we're going to stop there.
I like the line we're at right now, Matt. Let's stay right here.
We're here. Hey, What do they say in Hitch? Don't make the pizza. They got food there. All right. Keep it in the box. All right.
All right. I'm going to have to watch Hitch, get a little refresher if you're going to quote it this often.
Keep it in the box. Right. All right. Just you don't need a Q-tip. All right. They got those in the bathroom. All right. Keep it in the box. All right. And that's where we're going to do it. We're going to keep it in the box. Jacob Rutherford, 8684 in the YouTube chat comments. Matt, we need more horse racing talk. I am so glad you asked, Jacob. Paladin, everybody. Put it on your radar. Paladin, early Kentucky Derby favorite. Won the Risen Star G2 Stakes over at the fairgrounds over the weekend. Him and Chip Honcho went wire to wire. It was very impressive. Chip Honcho, good horse. I'm worried, though. They ran 4 furlongs in 49 seconds, and that was the pace that he set, and he still couldn't beat Paladin. What's going to happen if a faster horse gets out there on Chip?
Is Paladin a mutter?
No. I'm just a little worried when you're the pace setting horse and you don't set that fast of a pace and then you still lose. Could have been a big win for Chip Honcho, but the Paladin's closing speed is legit. Jacob says, "Thank you, Matt. You're a real one." I'm keeping it up for you. 50 points for Paladin, early Kentucky Derby favorite. We'll see how it continues to race. He might be a wheeler. If you know, you know. We have run through the lineup. Nebrasketball talk. We are going to do some Creighton talk with Jon Walker. We are going to have some college basketball talk after what was actually a very entertaining and pretty important night. We talked about bubble matchups, right? TCU ended up losing to UCF. How does that affect the bubble conversations for teams like Santa Clara, who lost to Gonzaga the other night? That would have been a big win for Santa Clara. And on top of that, talking about big signature wins for teams who are kind of in that 7 to 11 seed area. Iowa, what a win, man. Like if we're just talking from a resume perspective, Iowa needed to beat Nebraska yesterday. And I think that's part of the conversation that we'll have. Iowa needed that victory. They needed that top 10 win. They needed that Q1 win. They got it yesterday. Nebraska's going to need some Q1 wins and improve that Q1 record as well. We'll have all of that conversation and more. We'll talk about NBA tanking. We'll talk about the MLBPA. We'll talk about Thomas Hammock leaving Northern Illinois for Seattle Seahawks. It's also a Wednesday, which means at 1 o'clock, the best segment of all of Omaha sport radio. Wacky Guest Wednesday.
We got a big one this week. I don't want to oversell it, but I know what I got.
You were grinning a little bit when I talked about Wacky Guest Wednesday. You're very proud of what you cooked up today.
I like what I have.
For those who don't know, our wacky guests have included so far Scott Strohmeyer, Brooke Nunaviller,
Your president,
Shea Boyle, which is crazy, and Brian Fowler, the two-time Guinness World Record holder for going to a bunch of stadiums all in 1 year.
bigger than all four combined.
No,
today.
Now, really?
Yeah.
All righty. Well, 1 o'clock, you'll have to stay strapped in to see who Josh Odson booked. Who I have no idea who this person is. That's why it's Wacky Guest Wednesday. It doesn't seem like it's going to be wacky. Seems like it's going to be effective. So we cannot wait to talk to that person at 1 o'clock. I can't wait to talk to somebody who's on the line right now. Mark wants to talk about Nebraska basketball. Mark, stay on the line. We're going to get to you. Mark called in at 402-951-1620. That's the Prairie Flower Casino hotline. Prairie Flower Casino, play longer, win more. Also, if you want to get in on the conversation today, Equitable Bank inbox. Equitable Bank, they take banking personally. They always pick up on the first ring. Shout out Old Man Doug, who we thought called in on Monday, but apparently we have a young man Doug. We have an old man Doug and a young man Doug. So I don't know how. We got to talk to old man Doug to see if he's okay with another Doug than taking an adjective.
Was this bad takes, Doug?
I don't know. The guy just said he's young man Doug.
Oh, okay.
Great.
Great.
But shout out old man Doug. So Equitable Bank inbox, they take banking personally. We'll get to Mark on the Prairie Flower Casino hotline. Coming up next here on Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone. Now, back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
I don't know if I were a Canadian hockey fan that I would begin to panic right now, but I'd be a little worried. We are now
questions.
We are now in the point of the hockey game where the Czech Republic actually thinks that they're going to win. Like, David Pasternak and the Chechians believe that they have an opportunity here. By the way, David Camp on this Czech Republic.
Really good for
center.
David.
Really good center, former Chicago Blackhawk, just for those who want to know. This could be wild, by the way. This would be one of the biggest upsets in maybe Olympic hockey history. Like, if I'm being real, I mean, if Czechia,
do you believe in miracles?
I mean, I'm just going to be honest with you. This Canadian hockey team is one of the greatest teams ever assembled. I mean, it's Crosby, it's McDavid, it's McKinnon, it's Makar, it's Marner, Celebrini. You got, I mean, this team is loaded. Mark Scone. I mean, there are so many Hall of Famers that are on this roster. So many guys who, if they're not Hall of Famers, they're Hall of Famers in their roles. And this Czech Republic team, who was picked to be like the fourth, maybe fifth team heading into this Olympic tournament, I don't even think that I don't know if the roster is full of NHL guys either. And if they end up beating this Canadian hockey team, it would be one of the best accomplishments we've seen. Still a lot of game to play. We're only halfway done. 10:32 left to play in the second period. Czech leads 2-1. Let's go to the Prairie Flower Casino hotline. Prairie Flower Casino, play longer, win more. Mark wants to talk about Nebraska basketball. Mark, what do you got?
Yes, sir. I guess I'd like to open up really shortly by saying that I go all the way back to Joe Cipriano, Mo Iba, of course, Danny Nee.
Yep.
Nebraska is like a tradition that is unlike any other tradition. They cannot win an NCAA tournament game. They have kind of slowed down this year. I still think they'll get to the top four this year in the Big Ten. I think Fred Hoiberg has really tried. He's got a great team. But when they lost last night to Iowa, see, I lived in Iowa for 23 years. I moved to Cedar Rapids for a woman. All right. I cheered for Nebraska. Okay,
yeah.
I'm not going to get emotional. For 23 years. You know, I did. When they won the Big Ten, when they won the Big 8 championship, I called up out there and I talked to Kent Pavelka. And I guarantee you, if you ever talk to him, he'd say, Mark, I remember him barely, but I do. And so I came back 15 years ago. I'm 64 years old now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to tell you my life story, but okay, Nebraska will not win an NCAA tournament game this year because it's a tradition. They'll probably get in, but they'll figure out a way to blow it. It might be I think they'll probably be a 7th or 8th seed by the time it's over. And I really hope to God, I pray that they beat Iowa in that last game because Iowa's dogged Nebraska for so long and they have the right to. And Nebraska has kept their heads up and they have this attitude, which is good. You know, there's nothing wrong with it.
Mm-hmm.
But
yep.
I don't know. I don't know what else to say except for
you're good.
Okay.
Yep. Appreciate it, Mark. I don't know they're going to be a 7 seed.
Good dismount.
I would not. I would not say they're going to be a 7 seed. If they were to be a 7 seed, they would have to go ahead and,
not win again.
Not win again. They would have to lose to Maryland and lose to Penn State and go 0-2 on the West Coast trip. But a lot would have to happen. I mean, right now, Nebraska basketball still, even with this tough stretch that they went on, probably if we were to update bracket matrix, they'd be around a 3 seed, maybe closer to the 4 seed now after that loss yesterday. I mean, granted, yesterday's loss was very tough, but it was still a Q1 loss. So it's not like it was a bad loss. You went to the number 27 team, according to the net. You went and played a team on the road who probably now, as long as they take care of business by the end of the week, is going to be ranked in the AP poll. Iowa, not a great team, but definitely not a bad team by any shape of the imagination. I mean, we're talking about, a team that only lost by 4 to Iowa State, who's one of the best teams in the country. Like Iowa has battled and competed against some of the best teams in the country even before yesterday. So I'm not going as far as saying that the season's over and they're definitely not going to win an NCAA tournament game and they're going to be a 7 seed or they're going to be an 8 seed. I don't feel that way whatsoever. There's an interesting conversation to be had about, and they had this at the end of the morning show. I'll probably save it for the crossover tomorrow, but the euphoria that might be felt by winning that first NCAA tournament game and what it might feel like. But I think this, like, yesterday just sucked. Yesterday sucked. It was a bad game with the wrong result to the wrong team in the wrong arena. And on top of all of that, on top of just it being, it was 57-52. That's not a fun college basketball game. It's not. It was, both teams had double-digit turnovers. Both teams, just seemed like they couldn't find the bottom of the basket at times. There were long droughts. I mean, there was only 90 shots taken in the game. And when we talked about it yesterday, Iowa holds teams to 50 field goals attempted per game. That's the second lowest average in all of college basketball. Nebraska took 44 shots yesterday, and Iowa only took 51. Right? It wasn't this exciting, beautiful, not sloppy basketball game that was 86-82. It was 57-52. It was not a fun game to watch. Then on top of that, you lose to your rival. And not only did you lose to your rival, you gave your rival the signature win that they so desperately needed. And some people, and I understand it, we're trying to say, hey, it's pretty cool that, Nebraska's a team that gets court stormed. It's pretty cool that Nebraska basketball has built themselves up to the point where teams beat them and they storm the court. I understand it. It doesn't make it any less bitter. It doesn't make it any less crappier to watch a bunch of students that you don't actively like, because I don't actively like Iowa, go and storm the court. It just sucked. Everything about yesterday sucked. And also, too, you play into the narrative of Nebraska's overrated and Nebraska just got hot and Nebraska is fool's gold. Like, there have been people who've kind of been peddling that sentiment, and now those people were, in a way, in their minds, proven correct. And so now you have to deal with the talking heads and the articles and just a bunch of, people who are telling you that you were wrong, even though that you kind of still know that you were right, that this team is a good basketball team, that this team still can win NCAA tournament games. So everything about yesterday there's no other way of putting it other than it just sucked. It was just not enjoyable. It wasn't fun to watch. They lost to Iowa. Iowa is now parading around on Twitter, acting acting as if there's some great basketball team now and telling you how overrated you are. There's nothing enjoyable about what happened yesterday at all. And it sucked going to bed. It was not enjoyable falling asleep last night. It was not enjoyable waking up and immediately thinking about it. I mean, yesterday was the epitome of brutality when it comes to fandom. When your team plays a team that you believe they should have beaten, when they go and they underperform and they lose a game that they really, really could have afforded to win. And then on top of that, the game that they lost came at the hands of your rival, who, frankly, kind of has had your number a little bit over the last 2 seasons. If we're being honest, like, just kind of one of those instances where it's like there's no way to look back at this. And I know we like, we've talked a lot about moral victories and whatnot, but I don't know. It's hard for me to take any of that away. It just, yesterday was just, it sucked. It just sucked. There's no other way of putting that. So we'll talk about more. We'll get more in depth about the game and what happened and what Iowa did specifically and what Nebraska themselves didn't do. But yesterday was brutal. It was brutal. It was not an enjoyable basketball game to watch. It did not end the way that you wanted it to end. You lost that type of game to a team that you can't stand. And then on top of all of that, on top of the basketball being bad and the result not being what you wanted it to be, there was bad officiating that just pissed you off even more. The fact that Big Ten referees seem like they're just guessing now as to where the ball, who the ball, what the ball hit off last. They're just guessing, Josh Hodson. You're like, what do you mean that was off Nebraska? It was clearly off Iowa. Why does Nebraska have to challenge calls over and over and over again?
I don't even know if I'm being sarcastic anymore when I say Nebraska basketball seems to run into the worst officiating every single game. I thought I was critiquing the fans. I don't know anymore because they do seem to always get the worst officiating.
Sam Hoiberg wasn't even close to being out. That and Rick Mask wasn't even moving. Now I'll say this: there were illegal screens that were called, and I'm led to believe that Iowa saw that on tape, and Ben McCollum did a really good job at pointing that out to the referees and saying, "Hey, they move a lot on screens. We're telling you, they move they have a ton of illegal screens. Watch out for it." I would not be surprised if, because McCollum was very animated on the sideline and even getting a little chippy with certain illegal screens that were called. Nebraska did set a couple of illegal screens that were illegal and should have been called. The one at the very end of the game, though, with Rink, that was ridiculous. But you have that. You just have a bad game, bad loss to the worst kind of opponent, your rival, and then you have the shenanigans that happened at the end of that game too, with Fred Hoiberg knocking the phone away, which is, we'll talk about that as well. All right, Jon Walker coming up next here on Middays with Matt.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone. Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Some pretty big news coming in the gaming community. If you play NBA 2K26, it was released that Season 5, which is like they have seasons now of releases, Josh Hudson. Season 5 will include a lot of college basketball flavor from schools like Gonzaga, Duke, Baylor, Louisville, UConn. A couple of teams to be included, and that also includes with players who are currently in college being available in the game. Cameron Boozer being one of the athletes that will be featured in NBA 2K26. And saying all of that, we bring in a college basketball not only expert but historian as well, Mr. Jon Walker, the Omaha World Herald. John, is there a former college basketball player that you wish you could play with in an NBA 2K video game today?
A really good one. That's a really good one. The college basketball player that I wish I could have played with as a 2K player. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to think because we had a run of college basketball games. So, like,
good point.
Could anybody really stop Blake Griffin? No. Like, that's a really fun one to play with, but also like, I think he was a part of the game. Like, he was on the cover of one of the college basketball games, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Peak Mello Trimble? Any of those Maryland teams from 2014?
Yeah, like the Crab Five,
That would have been fun. Maybe you wouldn't want to play with that 21 Creighton team?
That'd be fun. I think I grew up a Kentucky fan.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like most people know that. I guess not.
I didn't actually.
I grew up a Kentucky fan because I was born in Baltimore, and we moved to Missouri when I was like 10. So really, I was never in Baltimore long enough to like have deep connections to the Ravens, to the Orioles, to the this, that, and the other. So yeah, then like when I was a kid, there was this point guard at Kentucky, and his name is Jon Wall, and that sounds a lot like Jon Walker. So I've been a Kentucky fan since then, crazy enough. But so if I had to pick one, I would say Willie Cauley-Stein, 2015 Kentucky.
Wow. The former Sacramento King, Willie Cauley-Stein, for people who aren't familiar with his game. Also, too, known bust Willie Cauley-Stein.
That team had like Devin Booker coming off the bench.
That is true.
That team was crazy. That team was insane.
That was a great team.
And I would love to exact revenge on Frank Kaminsky and Wisconsin for ending what should have been the perfect season.
What, you don't like Sam Decker? You're not a Sam Decker guy?
Nah, I mean, it's, he's fine. Good for him
Yeah, good for him. That's talk about bust too. That's a guy who went to the NBA. Things can really pan out for it. Became more of a meme than a known basketball player. Sam Decker of the Houston Rockets. Jon Walker, let's talk about your game tonight on TNT. I think when Turner Sports was booking this game in the preseason, that they thought this might be a gargantuan Big East matchup that might determine seeding in the Big East tournament. And instead, it's kind of one of those games where you're anticipating maybe it not being so competitive tonight in Storrs, Connecticut.
Yeah, I mean, Creighton's still trying to position itself for a first-round bye in the Big East tournament.
Sure, I guess.
So it's foreseeing that. No, I know what you mean. Like this was supposed to be a matchup of Big East Titans, and it is not that. Or at least we don't think it will be that. And I guess whether it's a good game tonight or not, it won't be a clash of Titans for sure. So, yeah, like Dan Hurley talked to UConn media on Tuesday, and toward the end of his 18-minute availability, somebody asked him, like, do you expect Creighton to be better this time around than the first time? And for anybody who's been hiding under a rock, UConn came to Omaha on January 31st and beat Creighton 85-58. Those type of wins do not happen in this series all that often. And that was one of those. And so somebody asked, do you think Creighton will be better than the first time you saw him? And Hurley was like, absolutely. So, I don't know if he actually believes that, or as he said, he's saying that out of the respect that he has for Creighton, for Greg McDermott, for the program as a whole. But Dan Hurley is telling you that he expects Creighton to be better than a 27-point loss at home. Now, that's going to be a tall task, Matt, because the Jays are walking into a hornet's nest. This is the first home game UConn's had since Dan Hurley kind of outwardly challenged the fan base to be more active, to be louder, to be crazier. And so that's going to be a factor. They're also retiring Emeka Okafor's jersey tonight.
Wow.
It's a whiteout. It's $2 beer night. Like, Creighton is walking into a hornet's nest.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. Like, the Jays hung around for the first 16 minutes of the first meeting. And that's largely because they made shots. Excuse me. And then they made one shot throughout the final 5 minutes of the first half. And UConn kind of found momentum going into the break and then just never looked back. So really what I'm watching for, Matt, is like any other game with these Jays, can they defend a little bit? Can they defend enough? But more importantly, can they score at the clip that we have seen them score at different points this season, unlike they did in the first meeting less than 3 weeks ago?
You think, is there any difference in terms of the minutes being given in this game than the minutes given in last game, considering the fact that it just seemed like, especially in that second half, they could get to the paint whenever they wanted? Do you think we'll see more Conan minutes? Do you think we'll see more Freeman minutes? Do you think we see more of Hudson Greer? I mean, or is there, you're not a basketball coach. You're not going to say, oh, they're going to run, horns instead of this, or run this set instead of that set. But do you maybe anticipate some fluctuation of minutes compared to the last time they played these guys?
Yeah, I mean, I would certainly say so, but also, like, Creighton just kind of is what it is at this point in the season. There are only 6 games left in the regular season. Like, Creighton just is what it is. And I know that Greg McDermott is trying to piece together lineups still in mid-February to try and find out what the best rotation is, what the best 5 is collectively. So, that's not the place you want to be with 6 weeks left or 6 games left in the regular season, right? And everyone knows that. Like, Creighton knows that. Greg McDermott knows it. Like, everyone's well aware of that. So I would say that we see something different than the first meeting with UConn, because as Greg McDermott showed Saturday, he's like even now more than willing to experiment. Like, we got Owen Freeman back in the starting lineup. We all saw that. Got a quick hook. Didn't play the second half, but like the willingness to experiment, the willingness to try is very much there. So does Owen Freeman start again? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Do you mix up the starting lineup again? And the thing that I'll be watching is when Owen Freeman's out there, Greg McDermott cited the offensive flow, and he didn't like it, is why Freeman got the quick hook less than 3 minutes into the game Saturday against Villanova. And so how's the offense look if Owen Freeman starts? I think that'll be a big part of it. And then, I think that we'll probably see a good chunk of Karam Conan tonight. One, for a semblance of rim protection, right?
Yeah, yep.
And 2, overlooked in it all, playing a center, playing someone other than Jason Green at the 5, whether it's Owen Freeman, whether it's Karam Conan, frees Jason Green up as a defender. So now you don't need him to battle with Terrace Reed on the block. You can put him on Alex Caravan.
Yeah.
So I'm really intrigued to see what the Jays do, because the thing is, Matt, Creighton didn't get gashed inside in the first meeting with UConn, but the Huskies made 16 threes.
Yeah.
Good point. And so we saw Saturday against Villanova, like, Creighton did a heck of a job running Nova off the line, but it didn't matter because they knew exactly how to attack the teeth of Creighton's drop coverage. And they had the personnel to do it.
Yeah.
obviously, UConn has the same wherewithal, has the same capacity to do that as well. Will they? I think a large part of it has to do with whether the Huskies are hitting shots from the perimeter or not.
John, do you get a read that, let's say this team rattles off just a couple more wins. I'm not saying they go undefeated, but they get to maybe 16 wins, 17 wins, whatever it may be. And maybe they win a game or two in the Big East tournament. Who's to say? But they get to a point where they get invited to a postseason tournament, right? Not the NCAA tournament, but they get invited to the Crown. Or they get invited to the NIT. Do you get a vibe or read at all that that's something that they would accept? Or do you think because that there were high expectations that were not met in any sort of capacity this season, that this team, when the Big East tournament is over, granted that they don't win the Big East tournament, that their season will be over?
Yeah, I genuinely don't know. And it has nothing to do with what did or didn't happen this season. And I think it has everything to do with who the coach is next year.
Okay.
If Greg McDermott hangs around for one more year, it would probably make sense. I'm trying to think of what the Crown dates are, because obviously
they're late. It would be all the way to April.
So
I can look that. That up for you.
It changes a little bit, obviously, because I think the portal opens for 15 days after the national championship, the day after the national championship. We'll see how that plays out, but it changes your roster building strategy is my point. If Greg McDermott sticks around, you're probably going to, and I don't think you can run it back with this roster. We've said that on here before.
No, you cannot.
But I think there will be more continuity, if you know what I mean.
Sure.
Because when Alan Huss takes over, whenever that is, whether it's off season or next, he's going to want to put his fingerprints on the program, as he should, right?
Yeah.
And so obviously he and Mac are going to have different roster building strategies and what they look for in a roster, what they want out of a roster. But yeah, that's what I think a large part of it has to do with who the coach is. If Creighton loses in the Big East tournament and, the next day they come out and say Greg McDermott is handing the reins to Alan Huss.
Yeah.
I would like to think Creighton wouldn't accept whatever postseason bid, because at that point, they've got to get to work on building for next year. If Greg McDermott came back, I don't know why they wouldn't accept the postseason bid, except again, unless you wanted to go ahead and just start building toward next year. But we'll certainly see. I don't know. It's really tricky because you have two seniors you kind of have to honor in this whole process.
Yes.
So what if Josh Dix and Nick Graves want to play their final games?
Yeah.
They want to play as many games in their final season as possible.
Yeah.
So truthfully, there are just so many variables on whether Creighton, in my mind, whether Creighton would or would not accept an NIT or a Crown bid. And really, we'll just have to wait until the dominoes start falling to really get a feel on whether the Jays would or wouldn't.
For you, maybe you'll write about this in the future. Wednesday, April 1st to Sunday, April 5th, which, by the way, is Easter this year, is when the Crown takes place. The NCAA tournament final, the national championship game, will take place on April 4th. Final Four will take place on April 4th. The national championship game will take place on April 6th. So the Crown will end one day before the national championship.
Okay. So I would say that probably means, Matt, Creighton would accept the postseason bid.
Okay.
Regardless. I would think because what are you to do? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
If the portal doesn't open and you just have to sit on your hands until the portal opens, what are you to do? You can't start building the roster. Now, who are we kidding? Of course, you're back channeling through agents and this, that, and the other to get a feel for what the portal is and you name it, right? But Yeah, I don't. There's not an overlap there, so I would think so.
If they were to get an
but man,
invitation,
well,
by the way, I mean,
right,
they would have to
right.
get it.
Yeah, we'll just have to see how the next 6 games go, how the next 3 weeks go, which is crazy to say. That's all we got left, man.
It's all we got left. It's flown by, maybe not in the way that we wanted it to, but it's been quite the exciting year of college basketball. And I think these last couple of weeks, we're getting down to the nitty gritty of like, okay, these are the 6 teams that can win the national championship. And it seems like we were at like 12 teams, that maybe could fit that bill 2 weeks ago. And now we're kind of whittling down little by little by little. But Creighton still has a lot of basketball to play and a lot of things to figure out. I mean, this is going to be a really good opportunity, John, to find out who can be your guys for next season and who is the core that you build around in a roster that we just have to anticipate is going to be very different next season. We appreciate you, as always, every Wednesday at 11 o'clock. Jon Walker, the Omaha World Herald. Make sure to read all his articles and read his gamer after tonight at 6 o'clock. The Creighton Blue Jays take on the UConn Huskies in Stores, Connecticut on TNT. Grant Hill will be on the call as the color commentator tonight. That should be fun to listen to. Mr. Walker, whiskey, as always, you're the man.
Thanks, Matt.
Talk to you soon, my friend. Jon Walker, the Omaha World Herald. We will have the coverage of Creighton men's basketball tonight against UConn. Pregame will begin at 5:30. We'll cut USC just a little bit short, just half hour short. We'll still have. Do we know who the fill-in today for USC is?
I believe Michael Severe is back.
Oh, Severe's back-to-back days with Severe.
Yeah,
nice. That's always great content. Had a great show yesterday between Nick, Josh, and Michael, and we'll have a fun crossover again today. Alrighty, coming up next, we'll continue on our college basketball theme. A very interesting night of college basketball. I mean, a lot of dominoes kind of fell over. We saw who the real contenders are. We saw some bubble things shift. We saw some teams that maybe were gaining momentum lose that momentum. We saw teams that maybe we thought were a little dead in the water gain that momentum. It was a very interesting night of a lot of tides were rising and a lot of tides were falling. So we'll talk about all of that and more, including the Olympics at the end of 11 o'clock hour. We'll get right back into Nebraska ball and a lot of Nebraska ball and their loss to Iowa in the 12 o'clock hour. And then don't forget at 1 o'clock, the best segment in all of Omaha Sports Radio, Wacky Guest Wednesday. That's what we got for you here on a midday on 1620 The Zone.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone. Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
I'm sorry, man. I'm getting a kick out of watching the collapse of Mick Cronin right in front of me.
You think it's a collapse, but that's just who he is.
Yesterday
that's
was
who
bad.
UCLA hired.
I don't know if this is, and maybe this is an uneducated opinion. I don't know. Maybe it's who Mick Cronin is, but I see it as a guy who I don't know if he really wants to be there anymore.
Yeah. He does not seem to like it.
He does not seem happy.
Seemed like a cool gig when I applied for it. Yeah, now, not so much.
And he's always complaining about, I think he's always complaining about the Big Ten. He's always complaining about being in the conference. He's always complaining. He ejected his own player yesterday. And then somebody asked him about, the Michigan State student section. And he goes, you really think I give a rat's ass about, the student section? And then he went as far as to say, I'll give you kudos for asking me the worst question I've ever been asked. And then the reporter was like, well, then somebody else tried asking him a question, and then he reiterated back to the reporter who asked him that question, why do you think I care about the student section? And the guy was like, well, I'm just asking. And then he hit him with the very motherly, are you raising your voice at me? Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. As Michigan State defeated UCLA on the road yesterday, I believe the margin of that score was 82-59. So that's a 23-point win for Tom Izzo's Michigan State Spartans. It was a good win yesterday for Arizona State. They defeated Texas Tech 72-67. But the bigger story of that game, one of the best players in the country, junior JT Toppin of Texas Tech, he left the game in the second half for what appears to be a right leg injury. And so I don't know if there's been any updates as of recently as to what the status of JT Toppin is, but we will kind of wait on pins and needles in a way, especially if you're a Red Raider fan, because Texas Tech has had one really, really good year in a super competitive Big 12. And it's been because of JT Toppin, who already established himself as one of the best players in the country last season, but has continued to do so after big performance after big performance. There was another good win too yesterday from Florida, who continues to climb the ladder in terms of establishing themselves as back-to-back national championship contenders. Chinyalu on that team, their big man, he's a guy. I mean, Ruben Chinyalu is a dude. I mean, they just got so many just big guys on that Florida team. Todd Golden has just created a roster that can be physical with anybody, and it really just boils down to how can that backcourt play. And we talked about it the other day ago. They got a guy named Xavier Lee, a guard. If he can find his rhythm from the three-point line and continue to dictate the paces of games, Florida's going to be a contender. They're currently 9th in the net ranking with 8 quad one victories this season. So very good win yesterday for Florida. It was a very good win yesterday for Will Wade in the NC State Wolfpack. Now, Caleb Wilson, one of the better players in the country and one of the better players for a ranked North Carolina team, he did not play. It's still, NC State took advantage of that. Only 0.9 points per possession for North Carolina yesterday, which if you're ever under 1, that's an abysmal number. UNC just could not get anything going throughout the night on the offensive end without Wilson, who was out with a left hand injury. 82-58 was the score of that game. And then we got to talk about, I mean, it was supposed to be the game of the night, but I think anybody who had been following both of these teams throughout the season, I didn't think, I'm not giving myself like revisionist history credit here. I thought this game would be way more competitive, but this was always a possibility when Michigan and Purdue played, considering the fact that ever since the Wolverines only defeated the Huskers without their two of their best players by 3, they've just been on a roll. I mean, they've just looked like a more fired up and physical and just complete team since, not a very good performance against the Cornhuskers. They defeated Michigan State, obviously, and then yesterday held as much of a 20-point lead against Purdue at Mackey Arena. It's the 4th loss this season at Mackey Arena for the Purdue Boilermakers. That's the most, the 3rd loss, the 3rd home loss this season at Mackey Arena. That's the most since 2019. So Purdue, who has been dominant at their home court, really hasn't had the same amount of success this season. And it really just boils down to they have some really good players. It's just they're not playing as well as we anticipated them to play this season. I mean, Purdue entered this year ranked the #1 team in the country, and it was because they were bringing back Trey Kaufman-Renn. They were bringing back Fletcher Lawyer. They were bringing back Braden Smith. And then they added a really affected power forward in Oscar Clough coming from South Dakota State in the Summit League. Those guys they're still good and they've still played well, and Purdue is still one of the best teams in the country, but they just haven't really lived up to the billing as the team that was ranked #1 heading into this year. And once again, Lawyer only had 11 points. Braden Smith went 4 of 13 from the field. And yeah, hey, Trey Kaufman-Renn, man, 27 points last night. Josh, he took 26 shots. But players taking 26 shots, it's because the other team is totally okay with you taking 26 shots. That's how basketball works. If you're taking that many shots, it's because the other team is like, all right, fine, we'll live with that. We'll live with Trey Kaufman-Renn getting 26. And then you got to factor in, Merez Johnson, the transfer from Illinois, continues just to be dominant on the glass, along with Mara, the other 7-footer that they have on that team. And then you add in that, the NBA player they have with the Axel Lindenberg and just the versatility he brings on the court. I mean, it's just a very complete team that's playing some great basketball because they're very, very well coached with Dusty May, who is, at one point, Fred Hoiberg seemed like the shoo-in for Coach of the Year, especially when Nebraska started the year 20-0. I'm not saying Fred, isn't still in that conversation even after the Huskers have lost 4 of their last 6 games. At the same time, if Michigan only loses once in the Big Ten, how are you not going to give that title to Dusty May and the job that he's done this season? So kind of your wraparound college basketball, if you will. We got a pretty interesting slate of games tonight. One game that, people should be interested in tonight, it's the final home game of the Omaha men's basketball season. They take on the Oral Roberts Golden Eagles. That game will be at 6:00 tonight. Be interesting to see if, the Mavericks, about a month ago, I don't know if we really would have the optimism that we might have now in terms of them being able to make a run once again in the Summit League tournament and end their and earn another NCAA tournament bid. It would be back-to-back years of the Mavericks going to the NCAA tournament and defending their Summit League Conference Tournament championship. Paul Jobay, the transfer from Miami, has really come on ever since he wasn't allowed to play in the beginning of the year because of just some transfer stuff and school stuff. December 20th, he came and started playing. He came before that, but he started playing in games on December 20th. That completely changed Omaha's season, and now you've had some guys who have been staples of this program having some really good performances. Jayshawn Glover, Cameron Thomas in the defensive end, Tony Osborne, a fan favorite, coming on, finding his rhythm from the outside. And then on top of that, Valentino Simon has been a really big contributor for this team on this good stretch of basketball that they played. And, talking to some people in and around the athletic department, I mean, they knew they had something from Tino because he was playing on scout team against Markel Sutton, who's, right now at LSU. And it was one of those things where they saw Tino play against Markel and they're like, we might have something here. And he's been a very big discovery for this team. His performances and how well he's been playing recently over the last couple of games. I mean, this Omaha men's basketball team, they're moving in the right direction. They're building momentum, and they'll have an opportunity to do that against Oral Roberts tonight. An Oral Roberts team that is first-year head coach not having a very good season this year. So that game will take place at Baxter Arena. 6:00 is tip-off for the Mavericks versus the Golden Eagles. We'll go back to the Prairie Flower Casino hotline. James has some NU men's basketball roster questions. James, what do you got for us? Thank you so much for calling in to Middays with Matt, my friend.
Hey, great. You got a great show, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you, James.
And I love hearing you. Hey, my question would be from a roster perspective. We're talking about the players Nebraska currently has playing, and some are struggling. Mask isn't consistent here since his injury. But I understand we've got like a 7-footer sitting on the bench with a back problem, right?
Yeah, Ugnis Juravicius. I don't think I'm saying his name correctly. He was the transfer from Central Michigan.
And when I looked at the Purdue game and the Michigan game, even the Illinois game, the difference that I saw was the lack of a 7-footer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because that's what they're going to run into in the tournament, right?
Yeah,
and they run into it right now, even in the conference.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I appreciate the question, James. You know, I think there are a lot of teams across college basketball that would love to have an effective 7-footer on their roster. And, you know, you look across college basketball, there's a lot of teams that have an effective 7-footer on their roster playing really well. You know, yes, you would like to have more size. Yes, you would like to have more depth. And I got a great email last night about from somebody asking about the depth of Nebraska's roster. You know, Nebraska has 7 really high quality basketball players. Nebraska has 7 guys who could really play minutes for any team in the Big Ten. And that's not something that a lot of teams across the Big Ten can really say, that they have 7 dudes who solidly can play on any single roster in their conference. But I think where they're lacking in depth, James, is kind of your question, right? They're lacking the depth in terms of size. They're lacking the depth in terms of size throughout the entirety of the roster. I think the difficulties, you know, for Nebraska against a team specifically like Illinois, was not necessarily that they didn't have somebody who could compete with Ivisic, but Illinois had a 6'6" guy as their point guard. They had a 6'7" guy as their shooting guard. They had a 6'9" guy as their small forward. They had 6'11" Mirkovic and 7 foot tall in Ivisic. And so it's, you know, the size throughout the entirety of the roster definitely is something that Nebraska has to deal with and compete with. And, you know, James, you were kind of spot on. Yeah, like when they played Purdue, it wasn't necessarily that they couldn't handle, you know, Wren. It was just they had a really tough time handling Wren and Clough and the other 7-footer that Purdue was able to put out there. So, you know, sure, if we're talking about roster construction, would it be valuable maybe for Nebraska to have another 6'10" player? Yeah, it would be. I mean, that's why they got Oogie, and he just hasn't been able to play this year. And also, too, I mean, Nebraska basketball is at the point where you have the guys that you have, and if one of those guys isn't playing well or just doesn't have stuff, it's hard and to just say, all right, we're going to roll the dice tonight and hopefully Jared Garcia is going to play really well. It's kind of difficult to say, all right, we're going to throw out Leo Curtis out there. I mean, Nebraska kind of just has what they have, and granted, it's more than what most teams have, but still, it's one of those instances where you're absolutely spot on, James. Maybe they are 6'10" guy away. Maybe they are another 6'8" quality player away from being able to give, you know, to match the physicality of some of these teams, these high quality teams that they'll play in the tournament. But I don't know if I'm really going to overly criticize the makeup of this roster, considering the fact that I love the makeup of this roster, and the makeup of this roster has put Nebraska in a position to be a 3 seed and, you know, probably 2 seed if they win the Big Ten tournament at this point. I mean, it's as these losses kind of stack up, your outlook on getting one of those top 2 seeds definitely slips away from you. But yeah, I think James, you're right. You know, more size in this team is definitely something that could benefit them because of the fact that when they play teams like Purdue and teams like Illinois, who have just size and physicality, and Michigan as well, you can add to that up and down the roster. It's hard to compete with that. Alrighty, coming up next, a staple of this show every 11:45, we give you the odd news by Mr. Josh Odson. Coming up next here on Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
Okay, we're gonna before we do this, we need a call for help here. Okay,
you're gonna use the audience.
I'm gonna use the audience because I want this drop.
Okay,
I want this drop.
I can tell.
And I think it's from a TV show, and it's gonna be really good for this show if we can find it recorded and use it, because I'll use it a lot. Because I want to do it with a saying that
You'll use it a lot.
I'll use it a lot.
Okay.
Okay. There's this line, I think it's from a TV show, where the actor goes nose to nose, toes to toes, something, eggs over medium. All right. And he's like confronting like the person he says this with. And I
would use this a lot
because I have something that I say a lot.
Okay.
That I'm going to say in the next segment that I would like to use this drop in conjunction with. Okay. Because there's something that I say. I say this a lot. Let's call a spade a spade. I've said that plenty on this show. I was thinking when I heard this drop, I was like, that would be great to play. Because I'm always thinking about my radio show. I'm always thinking about our radio.
You are always thinking about it.
Why do you say it like
that? Put
it
down for an hour.
What do you mean?
I respect that you're always thinking about the show. You always want to do a good job. Work-life balance is an important thing to learn.
I think that's overrated. I don't.
See,
I don't. That's a hot take. People
as
are
your
get
friend,
mad at me about it.
As your friend, I hate that. As your boss, I love that.
As the program director,
I'm torn.
I don't want you to not do it, but I don't want you to do it.
If you want to do it, that's fine.
Hey,
I'm just saying not everyone's doing it that way.
I get my balance on the weekends, buddy, old pal. All right, that's where I find my balance. All right, balance over moderation, if you will, on the weekends. Baymon goes, "What in the hell is Matt talking about? I don't know."
Evergreen comment.
That's why I'm trying to find it. Josh Odson, read us the odd news. Damn it.
The odd news, huh? Okay. Well, we go to a lover's quarrel. Sad to hear this, but it does happen from time to time. During a Valentine's Day quarrel about infidelity, a man allegedly struck his female companion in the head with a Chick-fil-A spicy sandwich.
What an idiot. What an idiot.
Investigators say Theodore Anderson, 27 years young, and the victim were having dinner in their home Saturday evening when they began to argue. The defendant threw a Chick-fil-A spicy chicken sandwich, striking the victim on the head. Anderson then tossed a styrofoam cup of blue Powerade, which left the woman soaked in the sports drink.
This guy should get arrested.
Yeah.
I don't care that it was not a hard object that he threw at her. I don't care that he didn't throw a remote control or his keys or his phone. I don't care what if you're throwing something at your significant other, shame on you. And especially the blue Powerade. Also, too, if I was power ranking drinks that I wouldn't want to be thrown on me, Powerade would be
very high.
Very high.
Yeah. When St. Petersburg officers entered the domicile, they reported spotting the Chick-fil-A delicacy, quote.
Delicacy? Do we really need to put it as
I'm
a
just
delicacy?
reading the article.
Okay. I know that it's Ash Wednesday, but we don't have to compliment Chick-fil-A in that way.
Quote, broken apart in the living room where the incident occurred. The sandwich was not collected as evidence.
Well, what do you mean it wasn't collected as evidence? It was the main weapon.
I don't know if you're going to
Colonel Mustard in the billiards room with the spicy chicken sandwich.
I don't know if you can lift a print from a spicy chicken sandwich.
You can lift a print from anything nowadays. You'd be shocked.
Anderson reportedly admitted to the spicy chicken attack and is away on jail.
Yeah, he should be.
Misdemeanor. He spent a day in jail before being released on a $5,000 bond. The two are ordered to maybe you two just need to spend some days apart.
You know, when they came in kindergarten to take my print, you know, the cops come in and you meet the cops and everything like that. And like, hey, everybody. And then, you know, they do okay, we're going to, as a fun little thing, we're going to take your prints, you know, you're going to put your prints down and everything like that. You know, I told them no. I was like, I know how this works. You're not putting me in the system. I'm kidding. What's our next story?
We have a story about this is all the way in Germany. You're familiar with Germany?
Yes.
Okay.
I've read a history book.
Okay. A bird with a hook stuck in its beak. Didn't know what to do. The bird clearly wanted the hook out, so it sought medical attention by pecking at the window of a German hospital's ER.
Okay. Was this a puffin?
No, it's got a big beak. I don't know what kind of bird it is. Maybe the article will tell us. We'll read on here.
Okay, continue.
A registered nurse at the emergency department of the hospital, I'm not going to read that, said the injured cormorant, is that a fancy word for bird?
I guess.
Made its need for assistance known Sunday by pecking at the window. I've never experienced anything like this in my 15 years of professional experience, the nurse posted on Facebook. But then a colleague came to me and said, hey, there's a bird pecking at the window. They investigated the bird and discovered it had a fishing hook stuck in its beak. The fire department was summoned for assistance, and firefighters helped medical staff capture the bird and snip off the 3 curved points of the hook.
Yeah.
Then they were able to remove the rest of the hook and treat the wound. Go ahead, Matt. Go ahead.
Czechia just scored.
Whoa, there's 7.5 minutes
They
left.
just scored. Czechia just scored.
Do you believe in miracles?
This is incredible. So they clearly tripped a Canadian winger.
Oh no!
And they didn't call it. The puck came around the boards.
Big Ten refs.
It was a great little poke. They had a 3-on-2 perfectly executed. And Jordan Binnington, that dummy,
he's having a low-key stinker,
dude. He tried using his blocker he tried using his pad instead of his blocker, and it just went right under both of them. Bang! What an idiot. Czechia up 3-2. Jordan Binnington, what a joke. That's what you get for playing for the Blues, you dumbass.
Okay, now I get it. Now it all makes a little more sense for me. Poll question up at Middays with Matt. Is Jordan Binnington low-key having a stinker?
He is having a stinker. Now, here's another thing.
I think it's a lot less low-key now.
What an idiot bird. Why is
the bird an idiot?
Why are you pecking at the window of a hospital? Go to a veterinarian, you dummy. All right, they have doctors.
Well,
for that.
Here's the thing. I don't think the bird can read.
Well,
so
what a dumb bird.
It probably is medical facility is a medical facility. I'm going to go to this one.
What do you mean you can't read, bro? Are you kidding me?
Maybe it can only read English, and so the German was confusing.
I mean, be multicultural, dude. I mean, you're pecking out. They're not going to do anything to you at the hospital.
The birds need more culture.
Yes, poll question. Do birds need more culture?
Mm-hmm. Finally, we go back to Florida, where a wanted suspect was apprehended by police. The police said, hey, what's your name? And
the Queen of England.
Kind of. The man said George Costanza.
Okay, they're kind of the same.
Yeah. Now, I don't think I have to tell you the man's name was not George Costanza.
But what if it was?
What if it was?
That would have been great.
Officers were patrolling a fishing pier in Clearwater yesterday when they confronted a man who resembled the description of a subject with an active arrest warrant. Based on prior interactions, the cop believed the man to be Hosea Darling, a 30-year-old transient. Darling, who was recently arrested for trespassing, failed to appear in court. Didn't have his schedule together, I'm guessing.
So this guy, the cop just recognized him as a dude who might have a warrant out.
Yeah, I think that's the guy.
Does he have like neck tattoos or anything? Like he's a weird looking dude.
He's weird looking.
Is he the type of guy where you're like everyone would buy? Oh, that's Josiah. What up, dude? What a little.
I'm gonna guess so,
dude. Nothing better than a little forehand dumpy to the slot. You know, where you just kind of curve it, like you open up the blade a little and you curve it back way instead of using your backhand. It's a sick pass.
Is there anything better than a forehand dumpy in the slot?
Yeah, it's a little dumpy, man.
That's going up at Middays.
I thought Thursday was our poll question.
Look, if you keep saying stuff, I'm going to keep posting it. Okay. Is there anything
That's not the
better?
theme of the show, Josh. Whose name is on the billboard? All right.
Half of yours.
That is true.
The time slot has better billing than you.
Dang it. I did not. I should have had them put McMaster on the board.
That's right. That's right.
Are we going to be on buses, by the way?
I guess that we could look into it.
Can you imagine my mug on a bus through Omaha?
You would definitely get spray painted. You get tagged for sure.
They'd be like, "Why is Walter Jr. parading around Omaha? Is Breaking Bad? Are they doing a reboot?
Oh, are they showing reruns on Fox after the late local news?
Can you imagine if the secondary logo on a bus was True TV? That'd be so good.
Oh,
what a time! Look at the cathedral. By the way, today is
Beautiful.
Ash Wednesday. Remember, you are dusk, and dusk you shall return.
there you go. A lot of people were thinking it. Matt had the guts to say it.
It's Ash Wednesday.
It is.
I have not gotten my ashes yet. I got to make sure that I go ahead and get my ashes. Make sure you do that. Also, too, Lent starts. So Friday, make sure we're having fish fries.
Shucks is going to be very busy.
If you practice.
Yes, if you'd like to participate.
If you like to participate.
Not required to by any means.
We're not going to do a segment of what are you giving up for Lent. We are not. But,
Okay.
we're giving up some things.
Alex, who's trying to eat lunch right now,
Thank you for getting me out of that. by the way.
is concerned with your beverage.
This is an Americano that I drank all the way down to about the third. I had a third left, and then I just put water in it. And so it's like
Okay.
the remnants of it's a part water, part Americano. I'm an Americano man. if you will.
Many people are wondering if you're maybe drinking a beer during the show or things that might be the same color as beer,
No.
but are a lot warmer than beer.
No. This is the remnants of an Americano with water.
Okay. How is it? Would you recommend?
I love it. I love an
Okay.
Americano. I went through my coffee journey of trying to figure out, do I like a cappuccino? Do I like a latte? Do I like a house drip? What do I prefer? What is going to give me the boost I need in the morning, along with, like being good for my stomach, because if I have a house drip, then it kind of messes up my very sensitive stomach.
You're going to have a forehand drippy in the slot.
Exactly.
Dumpy, sorry.
Very good. No, it would be a drippy because it's a drip coffee. Nothing worse than a over brewed drippy in the stomach.
Uh-huh.
There you go. PC goes, Matt's drinking the charm, if you will. Are we just gonna call? Is this show just be like, instead of taking a piss, I'm gonna go and take a charm?
Well, you can do that here in just a matter of seconds whenever you decide that the segment's over.
Coming up next, we talk about Nebraska basketball here on 1620 The Zone.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone. Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
All right, Nick Suzuki tied it up for the Canadians. It's now 3-3 off the assist of Seth Jarvis along with Devon Tays. So Canadians in the zone. Czechia, 38-21 is our shots ratio. 2 minutes left to go in the third. Potentially looking at either a Canadian win in regulation or we will go to overtime, which will be absolutely thrilling. We'll see here what they do if they get a face-off in the offensive zone. Maybe Coop pulls the goalie if it's anything under 6 seconds or 4 seconds, maybe closer to that. So could be interesting end here to the quarterfinal between Canada and Czechia. Would be a massive upset of historical and insane proportions if Czechia were able to defeat a Canadian team that might have one of the greatest rosters in just hockey history, as the super line of McKinnon, Makar, and McDavid are out right now. Now the goaltender is down for Czechia, but they're continuing play as they have the puck. By the way, we got some comments here about, I don't know, people think what I'm drinking is Malort. You're familiar with Malort.
I am familiar with Malort, yes.
The very disgusting tasting liquor that is known just to be disgusting tasting, that hails from Chicago. Just real quick fun fact, if you do take a shot of Malort, it actually does pair well with a nice old style breakaway Czechia. Oh, big save by Binnington. Oh,
low key having a stinker.
Okay, that was a terrible move. He felt the pressure of the back check, so he felt like he had to go back. Very mid.
Yeah.
Very mid. This guy at 98, though, has been having a really good game. He had the assist, I believe, on the third goal of the contest. It was a great block shot by him. But Malort pairs very well with an old style after you take a shot of it. Or if you want to mix Malort, which God only knows why you would ever want to do that, orange Fanta. Pretty good.
Whoa.
With Malort. Yeah, a buddy of mine for my 21st birthday got me a bottle of Malort, and we were like, there's no way we're going to drink this straight up. And so we started like having a mixed drink competition. Who can make Malort taste good with certain mixies, and orange Fanta is what we landed on. So there you go. Little fun fact for you. A fact that is not fun, Nebraska basketball has lost 4 of their last 6 contests. They have not defeated a team, Nebraska basketball has, with a record over 500 since January 10th. That took place against Indiana at Assembly Hall. So Nebraska basketball has picked up wins since January 10th, but none of which have been against teams over 500. Those teams, by the way, include the likes of Oregon, Washington, and Northwestern, to just name a few. So, look, you can say they lost by 3 to Michigan without 2 of their 3 best players. You can say that, hey, Illinois at the time was playing some of the best basketball in the country. I don't know how many teams were going to defeat them that day. You could say, hey, they played terrible against Purdue, and somehow that game went into overtime, and they nearly beat a top 10 team in the country. And you could say yesterday, hey, Iowa's still a very good team, and they didn't play well, and yet they still had a chance at the very end. Okay? You could say all of those things to make yourself feel better about this basketball team. But there are only so many results that you can count as a moral victory. All right? There are only so many times that you can claim, hey, this didn't go our way, and this didn't go our way, and if these bounces that very easily could have gone our way, we would have won the game. There's a limit. There's a limit to that. And I'm not willing to go that far and claim 4 of 6 moral victories. I'm just going to call a spade here and say they're on a slump. They're slumping. Like we've seen this team play better basketball. They're not playing as good basketball as they were earlier in the year. It's plain and simple. They play better basketball against Illinois and Champaign. They play better basketball against Michigan State at home. They played better basketball against Indiana on the road. They played better basketball in the second half against Minnesota on the road. Like this team just isn't playing the quality of basketball that we're accustomed to seeing. And yeah, there is a part of, the book is kind of out on them. And I think Ben McCollum had some really good game plans yesterday and understood the weaknesses and spots that Iowa could capitalize against Nebraska's defense. I think you could notice in the first half they had a a really good pick and roll plan. They were going to take advantage of Nebraska hedging aggressively on pick and rolls, and you saw Bennett Sturts play such a great game yesterday and get the ball into the paint pretty easily, using the aggression of the pick and roll defense against Nebraska. You saw sometimes that Iowa would try and trigger that baseline double team. They would put a guy down there and, have them dribble the ball into the double team and then rotate really well and use the extra defender against Nebraska. Like, I think Ben McCollum had a really, really good game plan. So I think there's a mixture of the team isn't playing well. I think it's a mixture of teams are prepared against this team. You're now playing teams that either have a ton of tape on you and now have tape of teams beating you, so they know what works. You also are now playing teams that have played you before. So I think all of those things are kind of a factor in terms of why they're slumping. They're just slumping. Now, once again, spin zone, they're slumping against really good teams, and yet they're only losing these games by small margins, right? If you want to look at it that way. The way that I look at it is, in the NCAA tournament, they're not going to say, hey, Nebraska, we know you lost, but, the call's going to go your way. We're going to go ahead and put you in the next round. In the NCAA tournament, they don't go, hey, you didn't have 2 of your 3 best players. You only lost by 3. We're actually going to advance you to the Sweet 16. That's not how that works, right? So
yeah, this isn't the college football playoff where they manipulate the bracket year in, year out.
It's not. And so there's definitely things that you can say and be like, well, they're not playing well, but yet it's still close. Well, I kind of look at it as they're not playing well. They're just not playing as well as they were. They did not play well against Northwestern in that first half. That first half was bad. And, they played really good defense in the second half, but Northwestern isn't the type of team that is going to play a complete 40 minutes that will push you. Do you know who will push you? Iowa. And Iowa did push them yesterday. And I just think kind of the stakes of the game were so high for Iowa that, McCollum and his team knew they needed to win that game to get their signature win. And I just think kind of the pressure cooker a little bit got to Nebraska. And as the minutes continue on and they weren't hitting their shots and they were not taking advantage of the turnovers they were causing, only 3 points off turnovers with 12 caused turnovers against Iowa. Like, as that game went on and Iowa started to believe more and more that they could compete with one of the top 10 teams in the country, it just kind of came down on them. And when the shots needed to be made, let's be real, Iowa had the best player on the basketball court. Iowa had the guy who, if he wasn't going to make the shots himself, he was going to cause those shots to be high quality looks could go in. And I thought Bennett Sturts, while he only shot 18 of 22 from the field, did a masterful job and shot by Giccio. Big save by Binnington. Oh my God, that was such a good opportunity. Woo. As I continue, Bennett Sturts, while he only went 8 of 22 from the field, did a masterful job controlling that game. And Iowa allowed Iowa made Nebraska play Iowa basketball as the Canadians survive. Damn it.
Agony of defeat.
They had such a good shot in the slot to pull off what would have been one of the biggest upsets in Olympic hockey history. And yet the Canadians pull it off. Jordan Binnington,
giving the Americans the blueprint to beat the vaunted Canadians. Yes.
Well, the blueprint is pray that Jordan Binnington doesn't play well.
Pray he has a low-key stinker.
Made a big save at the very end. Big save at the very end. And that was Marner. Toronto Maple Leafs fans going, why can't he do that in the playoffs? Why can't he do that in the conference finals? Screw Toronto. Dead to us list, Toronto Maple Leafs.
Whoa, okay. Let's go.
Screw them. You know what? Dead to us, Mitch Marner. Put him on there too.
All right, I got some updating to do.
We'll go to the fun line. What does Wayne want to talk about? Does he want to talk about Nebraska basketball?
He does. He
All
do.
right. Wayne, what do you got for us, my friend?
Hey, Matt. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Wayne. Thank you so much for calling in. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, this is Lane.
Oh, Lane, my
apologize.
bad, Lane. You're good. We still love you.
Yeah, hey man, I like your guys' new show. I think you're really hitting your stride, Matt.
Thank you.
You're really doing well. You know, I like the morning show with you and Gary, but now that you're on your own, you really see your personality shine. So keep up the good work.
Thank you, Lane. I appreciate that. You got any comments on Nebraska basketball? Any takes we can work off of?
You bet, buddy. Hey, you kind of like I called in and you were already shortly after I called in, you started talking about it. Have teams figured Nebraska out? And if so, how can Fred Hoiberg counter that to get this team playing at their peak come March, come the postseason? And also, is there any way this team can really do anything? How do I say this? Like Sweet 16, Elite 8, with a 7-man rotation? Because I'm worried we need to play Garcia and Curtis Moore. I mean, to me, it's one of the most important things at the end of the season is to get another player or two in the rotation to give them some minutes, because it looks like the team's a little wore down. And keep up the good work, and I'll just listen to your answer, Matt.
Thank you, Lane. Thank you, Lane. All great questions. Let's start off the first one. Have teams figured out Nebraska? I don't know if teams have figured out Nebraska, but they're not going to be shocked by them anymore, right? Nebraska, look, I'm watching college basketball across the country, right? There are not a lot of teams, if any, that really play as aggressive on the baseline as Nebraska basketball does. There are not as many teams that just straight up say, we are going, wait, if you do a pick and roll, man, we're going to have 2 guys on you. There are not as many teams who are consistently collapsing in on the paint almost every time and forcing doubles. Like it's one of those things where there are teams who have those concepts and who do those things. That's not unique to Nebraska, but Nebraska they do it in a very aggressive and formulatic way. And it's one of those things where when you first play it and you don't know that it's coming, it can shock you and it can rattle you. And I think there are teams that when they first played in Nebraska got shocked by that and got rattled by that. Guys, we're now 26 games in, right? There's a lot of tape on Nebraska. There are teams who have played Nebraska who are going to play them again. And so that kind of shock factor and the not anticipating how aggressive Nebraska might be, that's gone. Now, it doesn't mean Nebraska's bad at defense. It doesn't mean that Nebraska is, I mean, look, guys, they only gave up 57 points yesterday, right? I mean, it's not as if Iowa was lighting them up and absolutely carving them up. No, I mean, you give up 57 points in college basketball, you should probably win the game. You know, you caused 12 turnovers, you probably should win the game. So I'm not overly worried about the defense at all. It just may not be as dynamic, as effective as it was earlier on because people kind of know what Nebraska is going to do, and there's not that, whoa, what's happening here? No. They know what's happening. And I think Ben McCollum yesterday showed that. He showed, hey, we know what you're going to do. We know that if we hit baseline that you guys are coming and we're going to put guys in certain areas in order to take advantage of that. There was this one play where they got a 3 in the first half where pick and roll, the screen setter slipped it, and then they had a guy come down from the corner up to the wing, and the guy who set the screen knew immediately that guy coming from the corner was gonna flare up to the wing, threw it out to the wing, hit a 3, right? That's drawn up knowing, hey, we know exactly what you are going to do, and we know where the soft spot of this defense is going to be when we run this play. That's going to happen now because there's a lot of tape out there. What does Fred Hoiberg do? I think Fred, he's the only guy who can answer that. I'm not a coach, right? But those are questions that Lane asks that Fred has to answer. And Fred has to be asking that to Nate Lesnar and Ernie Ziegler and to his coaching staff. All right, guys, hey, there's some of the things that we're doing that teams now anticipate. How do we counter the counter, right? It'll be interesting to see. And, I know that there aren't too many quad 1 win opportunities left for Nebraska, but there are some good opportunities to play teams like Penn State and Maryland where you can kind of experiment with some things and tinker with some things and maybe do some things that maybe you weren't willing to do against a higher quality team like Michigan, like Illinois, like Purdue. For Lane's second question, 7-man rotation. Are you should we be worried about that? I mean, when you're playing guys, a lot of guys consistently over 30 minutes a game, it's hard not to think that wears a team down, that guys are going to be banged up, that this is a grind of a season. It's a grind of a February. Yeah, that could be a factor, and I do think it is an advantage for teams like Florida and teams like Auburn last season who made deep runs into the NCAA tournament, that they were able throughout the entirety of the year play 9, 10, 11 dudes, because when they got into the NCAA tournament, they weren't as tired or worn down as banged up as other teams. My thing, though, is that should you play a Curtis more? Should you play a Garcia more? I don't know. Curtis might be a little too green at this point to really trust him in very big Big Ten play. Maybe you play him against Maryland. They kind of did it with Rink, right? During that Oregon, Washington, Northwestern slate where they didn't play him as much, could give him, rest him up a bit. Maybe you do that with Curtis in the Penn State Maryland game. Jared Garcia hasn't played well enough for me to trust to him to play 15 to 18 minutes. Let's just be honest, guys. He just hasn't. That performance he had against Illinois, I think that looks more of a fluke than it does a thing that he can consistently do. And when he has been given minutes, even dating back to Indiana, hasn't played very well. So I don't know if that's a guy that you can really trust. And we had a great call earlier. I believe it was James who brought up Oogie. Like, hey, there's a 6'8", 6'9" guy that they were hoping could contribute and maybe take a little bit off the load and add another physical element to the team, that he's got a back problem. He can't play. So should you be concerned that Nebraska basketball only has 7 guys that they can consistently trust? I don't know if I'm freaking out about it, but let me tell you right now, I'd love to have an 8th guy they could play. I'd love to have a 9th guy they could play. There's no such thing as too much depth. Don't let anyone ever tell you, oh, they got too much depth. That doesn't exist. Okay? Nobody ever used to have a bad back, and there's no such thing as, oh, too much depth. So like there's a couple rules in life that I live by. Those two, and never invade Russia in the winter. Never do it. It's never a good idea.
Got some comments from some people, and we'll get to a phone call here. Platt Cat, it's February 18th. Ain't nobody deepening their bench at this point. You're rolling with what you got.
PC spot on.
Text from a texter, my own personal correspondence. 6 of 23 from 3. They shot 33%. McCollum didn't figure out as much. He just figured out he had the best player on the floor.
Well, I'm more so talking from like they got open shots. Like they got some looks that they liked. They just didn't make them as much. I'm not saying that they had a bad defensive performance in the slightest. They scored 57 points, guys. But there were some things that McCollum did for sure that took advantage of the aggressiveness of Nebraska basketball that led to quality shots.
Telling the refs about those screens before the game.
You got with how much it was called, how we haven't seen it called as much on Nebraska, and how emphatic Ben McCollum was. I think that's a guess you can make. I think that's an observation that I'm going to stick by. That he probably did say, hey, watch out for those illegal screens. Probably got a couple calls because of it. Right? I'm not saying they play bad on defense. I'm just simply saying you watch the game. Trust your eyes. They did some things that definitely took advantage of some principle things that Nebraska practices on defense. Mac's got a funny call coming. Mac, what do you want to talk about, my friend?
There's so many teams that are able to fight for the win. So,
Mac, you there?
Mark?
Oh, are you Mark?
Yeah, sorry,
my bad, Mark.
Yes, I am. Yes, I'm the voice of Chuck Dura. Remember him?
Okay.
I hope this is a joke. Okay.
You know it's good when they have to tell you on the front end.
Okay. What do you got, Mark?
Well, I just want to say that I think that Nebraska is cursed.
Okay.
I think that there's no reason for them to be disrespected, because they shouldn't be even in the Big Ten. They haven't won a game of any esteem in all the time they've been in the basketball. I was a great fan of Danny Nee. I was a great fan of Mo Ibo. I kept going. And, I used to listen to the games, in my room. It's Jack Payne.
Yep.
Even before Kent Pavelka.
Yep.
And it's like, how long must we go on before we get that one win that will put us in mediocrity? I guess
Mediocrity.
But yes, excuse me. I am sorry.
No, you're okay, Mark. You got anything else for us?
When's it gonna happen?
Your guess is as good as mine.
What?
Your guess is as good as mine, dude.
All right. Well, you know what? I called up the second time. I'm retired. I get nothing better to do. So sometimes I get in some. Anyway.
No.
So I appreciate you putting up with me a second time. Thank you.
Of course.
And I hope with all my heart that Nebraska beats Iowa, and I hope they win enough games to get in that top 4 seed, and I hope they get into the tournament, and I hope they do well, and I hope they win. But it's like, okay, what's going to happen? Like what usually happens?
Yeah, sure. Are you at a golf course right now, or at a bar, or at a where are we at? Right now?
No. Oh, no. I'm at a let's see. I'm at a swimming pool.
A what?
I'm at a swimming pool.
Oh, wow, good for you, Mark.
Outdoor swimming pool. That's what we do.
Okay.
We would just we swim out there in the cold, and we get our tan lines and all going on and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. What a
so
time.
you believe that?
All
you
right.
Believe that?
I can't believe it. I can't believe it at all. I can't believe what's happening.
I could bullshit you some.
It was an all-timer.
Dang it. We were right there.
Excellent follow-up question by you, Matt. Where are you at?
We were right there. We were trending in the right direction.
Yep.
We were getting to where we wanted to go.
We were.
And we had, and I know you were waiting for a question.
Yep. I didn't have to tell you.
Yep. And we were plugging along. Just don't say the S word on radio.
I know you hear it on basic cable. You're watching your Walking Deads and your Breaking Bads, and they say it on the cable. So you think it's okay to say it on the radio. It's not.
It's not. It's not okay.
Gotta maintain our composure.
We'll try and do that as we go to break here on Middays with Matt.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone. Now, back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
We got a couple texts in. After.
Oh, yeah. Did that garner some
Oh, yeah.
conversation?
Oh, God dang it. This arm.
Now, I like that you didn't swear there. That was key.
Well, I'm a professional. At least I like
You are paid for your services, which I guess is the definition of being a professional.
Thanks, Josh. I appreciate your overwhelming support. John texted.
Hi, John.
There you go. Swear I was listening to Big Red overreaction there for a minute. So did we.
If you pair both of the phone calls, he hit all the high notes. Told you how long he's been watching.
Yes.
I guess he did in that second one as well. He just didn't give numbers to it.
He brought up announcers that haven't announced in quite some time in Nebraska history. That's a punch card.
Curses, drunk, swearing.
When you go, I listened to this guy even before the guy who's currently announcing was announcing.
I got to let him know my credentials on the front end of this call. I'll tell you how long I've been watching.
Is that going to be me in 25 years
Yes.
where I go, yeah, man, I was been listening to Huskers since, Matt Davison, even before Damon Benning was the color commentator. Is that what it's going to be in 25 years?
I was listening to what Damon was doing math on the radio.
I hope he brings that back for next season.
He better.
Dude, seriously, some things
People expect it now.
It's entertaining. I would love to ask him, like, does he write down on a note card, like, okay, if we were to do this, if we were to do that, like, is he anticipating it?
Does he got a couple holsters?
Or if he doesn't on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
And
if only we had a way to get to him.
I can't DM him on Twitter. It's hacked.
Do not DM him on Twitter.
No, but I do.
It will not go your way.
I am looking for some good crypto investments, though.
Aren't we all?
But no, it's one of, and even if he does write them down beforehand, I think he should not admit that and just be like, no, I do it all off the cuff, bro. But anyway, we go to the 202.
Hi, 202.
Why is this guy drunk at 12:25 in the afternoon on a Wednesday?
We should all be so lucky.
You know what, 202? I ask you this. Why aren't you drunk at 12:25 on a Wednesday at an outdoor pool, swimming around, getting your tan up like our friend Mark was? Which, by the way, Mark called in earlier, right?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. And he wasn't drunk then.
Exactly. I'll peel the curtain back. Normally, just like one of the commandments of producing radio shows, nobody gets on for a second time.
No, ever.
However, this guy sounded significantly more sloshed than the first time, and I figured, why don't we just let him loose and see what happens? And we were right there. We were getting to the good stuff.
We were getting to the nitty gritty.
And then he said a word you can't say.
And then it would be malpractice if we allowed that man to continue to be on.
Second call, you swore, you sound inebriated. We got to hang up on you.
We have to. Now, if you want to call back tomorrow. Hey, if you're willing to do it on a Wednesday, who says you won't do it on a Thursday?
Exactly.
Now, some people are asking, was that our Wacky Guest Wednesday? No, it was not. It was not our Wacky Guest Wednesday. Okay? Our Wacky Guest Wednesday is coming up at 1 o'clock here. And
huge.
Might I add, the most anticipatory Wacky Guest Wednesday that we've ever experienced. I mean, you have talked this up as if this is a white whale, as if this is a massive get for the program.
I don't know if every show is going to say good get Josh after we unveil our Wacky Guest Wednesday guest. But Matt McMaster, will say good get Josh.
Okay.
I guarantee it.
By the way, there's a lot of these weird stats, like highest force incompletion rate for max safeties in 2025. There was
I was wondering when we were going to get to that.
There was one stat yesterday that was like best pass defended rate amongst safeties in the Big Ten. Marquise Buford was just randomly on there. Yeah, didn't see that coming. Speaking about the MAC, Thomas Hammock, no longer the head coach of Northern Illinois, and
almost a guest on the Connor Happer show.
Really?
We had him. We agreed to it, and then 5 minutes before he was supposed to go on, he's like, "Yeah, we got a thing I got to go do."
Why did you want to have him on?
Nebraska was playing them when it was August before the season.
You got the head coach?
I couldn't find anyone who covers the team.
Oh my God. I want to tell you right now, I don't think anybody does.
That's what looked like. Yeah.
The only people who cover the team are the people who went to Northern Illinois, who then have a group chat with their family or their friends, and then they'll write in, "Hey, the Huskies are having a good year."
Mm-hmm.
Or they're like, "Hey, you should." Don't you love it when you have like a friend who's like a fan of a team, and he knows that none of you are watching his team playing like whatever sport, but his team is on the verge of a big win, and they send in this text, "Hey, you probably should turn the TV on to ESPN right now. Hey, probably should you should see the Huskers on ESPN the U right now." They always like that text. Thomas Hammock leaving Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois in a big year. They're going to the Mountain West Conference, moving from the MAC to the Mountain West. Very big deal for them. It's going to be a very different league they're going to be in, with a lot of different travel and a lot of different competition. And, we're in this just weird era of college football where just regionality just does not matter anymore, even amongst the bigger conferences. But now it's trickled down to the smaller conferences, where we have Sacramento State going to be in the MAC and actively paying for their travel. Can't wait for Sac State to go to Ohio 3 times a year. That'll be fun. But Thomas Hammock going to Seattle to be an assistant coach in the NFL. And Hammock has been a guy that has been very vocal about his just displeasure with the current state of college football, the current state and the outlook of college football in terms of how players view teams, and if you have how agents have been involved and how money has been involved and how this has become a transactional relationship. And, we've seen this from, Jay Wright and from Nick Saban and all the, Tony Bennett and all these other coaches, these big name coaches who have gone ahead and said, all right, I've had my career, I've had my success, I've had my national championships. I love it. I'm done. See you later. Not my era. Good luck. This one's a little interesting though, because, Thomas Hammock isn't a guy that has won those national championships and that has been at those big jobs and has those pedigrees. He is a mid-major football coach. And, he went ahead, and this is a quote he said a while ago. "Everyone's talking about everything else besides the most important thing of going to college. Because if you're going to college to get a couple of dollars, you might as well go and get a job. This is too hard to get a couple of dollars. Learn the lessons that you need to learn. Be successful in life for the next 40 to 50 years of your life. If I could do it again for free," or he goes, "I would do it again for free because of the things that I learned. That's what I'm standing here today, because of what I learned in college, not because of how much somebody gave me." Very much a dude who's just like, I'm done with this era of college sports. I'm done with this transactional relationships. I'm done with paying college players to pay, and that's the main reason why they care about why they're here. I'm going to the NFL. And I think this is just kind of interesting to me, and the reason why I'm covering it is because, mid-major sports and mid-major college football teams and just mid-major college teams in general have been, I don't know if I want to call it the heartbeat of college sports, but if it's not the heart, it's the liver. If it's not, I mean, it's pretty important, because before everything was about money, right? Like, you would have a friend and he'd be like, "Yeah, I didn't play D1, but hey, he was a 3-year starter at Bowling Green. He was a hell of an athlete." Or, "Hey, yeah, I'd never played in North Carolina, but I played at Western Illinois for 4 seasons, and was the all conference player and everything like that." And that was a cool little badge to have. And then, maybe you weren't you didn't have the athleticism, and you weren't big enough, and you weren't tall enough, and you weren't any of these things, but you went to a mid-major school and you played there for a while, and you had pride in that school. And then you could go ahead and your buddies would be like, "Man, he was a hell of an athlete," and this, that, or whatever. And now we are in the era of college sports where it's not necessarily about going to a mid-major and staying at that mid-major and that being your school. It's you go to a mid-major to make an all-conference team to then go to a Power 5 school, right? It used to be, I don't know, there used to be something pure about mid-major college sports, that it wasn't necessarily about going to the NFL and being this blue chip prospect, or it was just guys who were really good at the sport, who wanted to continue to play, who could play it at a high level, who could play it at a Division I level, who was at that school for a while and had pride in that school, right? Now mid-major sports have turned into, all right, I'm going to go to Ball State with the hope that I become a Mountain West All-Conference player my sophomore year, and then, hey, I'm heading off to UCLA, and hey, I'm heading off to get it back. And we've just, what made college sports was the pride that you had in your college, was the proudness you held in your heart for what you accomplished, what your teammates accomplished, and what your coaches accomplished. And now it's just turned into money. Money. And I'm not saying it's turned into that for every player, okay? There is certainly some brand loyalty and college loyalty across the nation. It's not too far away. I mean, there are guys at Nebraska who have been offered plenty of money to go elsewhere, and they've said, no, I'm a university, I'm a Cornhusker. I go to the University of Nebraska. I trust in Matt Rule. That's my coach. These are my teammates. That exists, right? But there's a lot of the other side of the coin, too, where guys like Thomas Hammock, who loved college sports because he loved college sports, are just like, I'm done. This is the final straw. There's that meme, what happened to the game I loved? You probably put Thomas Hammock's face right on that meme, because when a guy like that, who says, what are we doing here? This isn't why we should be doing this, and this isn't what the point was, and this isn't the game I fell in love with, and he goes ahead and says, all right, I'm no longer going to be a head coach. I'll go and be an assistant in an NFL team. I think it speaks volumes to where we are. It speaks volumes to where we came from. And it's never going to go back. It's never going to go back. It's never going to change.
Oh, you don't think so, huh?
No.
Interesting.
No. And this is kind of one of those instances where I look at Thomas Hammock, like a mid-major football coach in the Mountain West, formerly was in the MAC. Him just saying, man, I'm done.
Just a ball lover.
Yeah. He goes, man, I'm good, man. I'm done. I just can't. I can't do this transactional stuff anymore.
I do appreciate a little bit that he said it, or at some points in his career has said it, and not this, well, I just want to spend time with my grandkids. I don't know.
Why? Because that's a bad thing to do, Josh
No,
Johnson?
but we
Are
know,
you shaming people who
no,
spend time with their
just,
grandchildren?
We know you don't mean it.
You don't like your kids as much as you say you do.
I don't know. Like, I'm going to go spend time with my grandkids and then get like 3 or 4 other jobs right away. It's kind of weird.
Grandmama, why are you working at the Home Depot?
It's just a funny image to me.
I don't know. I can't imagine my abuela working at the Home Depot. It's got an image that even pops in my head. My abuela, though, I could die. Dude, my abuela worked at the Home Depot. He'd own the Home Depot. He'd probably sleep there.
On the Falcons.
Maybe. Is that what Arthur Blank owns Home Depot?
Yeah, he was like the guy that started the Home Depot, if I'm not mistaken.
The more you know. And the more you don't care. I'm going to talk about something I really don't care about coming up next here on Middays with Matt.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone. Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
We have some news. About the thing that we just discussed. Northern Illinois has named their defensive coordinator, Bob Harley, as the interim head coach for the 2026 season. Here's an interesting thing to mention. Transfer portal will open for 15 days for Northern Illinois University players, starting 5 days after Harley is officially named to the school. Now, the transfer portal is closed for Northern Illinois to add players. So,
Okay, it's just straight losses, right?
Yeah, right. I mean, unless somebody wants to, who might know more, wants to correct me. Well, here's the thing: you can't enter into the portal anymore, right? There's nobody new in the portal. There are still guys that are in the portal.
Yeah.
Right. That could at some point
You don't have to get out
enroll-
of the portal.
Yeah. So there's still guys in the portal that I'm assuming that are just unenrolled in schools and can re-enroll when the next semester starts. So maybe that's a point of action if they lose too many guys. But just
didn't come here to play school.
Kind of an interesting layer to things that now Northern Illinois guys can enter the portal. At the same time, if you didn't already enter the portal, are you really going to enter the portal now? When teams' rosters are kind of filled out and spring ball is starting up. I don't know. Just kind of an interesting little wrinkle to things. But Bob Harley will replace Thomas Hammock as the interim. The interim tag is on him for Northern Illinois. Looking through here. By the way, have you seen this new Twitter account? That Guy Rocked. It was created 9 days ago.
No, That Guy Rocked?
Yes.
Okay.
And it was created 9 days ago. It has 80,000 followers. And this dude just posts highlights of really good college basketball players that everybody remembers but weren't great pros. So he had an Edmund Sumner highlight reel, and he was like, and it just goes, DeJuan Blair, that guy rocked. Or Kevin Pittsnoggle, that guy rocked.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just
it's guys naming dudes the Twitter account.
Literally, seriously. He was like Marshall Henderson of Ole Miss, remember 22?
Oh, bleep that guy.
That
he played
guy
at one of the JUCOs that played Iowa Western all the time. That guy was a problem before he was a problem.
In 5 years, one of the top That Guy Rocked candidates will be Bruce Thornton of Ohio State. He's ranked 82 on ESPN's big board for NBA prospect, but he's awesome for Ohio State. And he scored 25 points yesterday in their win over ranked Wisconsin. Bruce Thornton, my 10 years from now, someone's going to be like, do you guys remember Bruce Thornton? You guys remember him? Remember how good he was?
What I'm gonna have to follow this here.
No, it's incredible. It's an incredible account. It has my full endorsement. I followed it the day that it was made. It's sick.
That guy rocks or rocked?
Rocked.
Past tense.
Big fan of that. Not a big fan of all of this tanking talk. I don't care. I don't care about tanking. I don't care about your tanking solutions. I don't care about what can we do to stop NBA teams tanking. The NBA does not have a tanking problem. Okay? It doesn't have a tanking problem as much as it has an incompetency of general managers problem. Okay? You can tell me that the problem, that tanking is an issue and everything like that. And I understand. I don't agree with the practice of purposefully sitting players in order to purposefully lose games and, not giving fans who work very hard and pay a lot of money to watch your team play by giving them a mal product just so you can get a better pick. I don't agree with that practice. But I also am not does it matter if the Charlotte Hornets tank if they never make the right pick? Does it matter if the New Orleans Pelicans tank if they don't know what they're doing? The Chicago Bulls have been tanking for the last 7 years. It does not matter.
Trust the process.
Right. We're going to tank. I'm like, you know what? Instead of tanking, maybe you should worry about hiring the right front office and having people who can do good jobs at jobs that need to be done well. Maybe you worry more about hiring the right coach. Maybe you worry more about taking guys, and instead of saying, oh, we're tanking just to lose, you try and invest in them and develop them, right? I mean, how many times have the Washington Wizards been in the draft lottery recently? I mean, this is there are all these teams where it's they've been tanking forever. Tanking isn't a foolproof strategy. Also, too, you're tanking for a 14% chance to be the number one overall pick. That's why you're tanking? You would rather put the worst product out there and not develop young players and give your fans a reason not to go to the game so you can up your percentage of getting the number 1 overall pick from 7% to 9%? Also, where did this notion come from that all of the great players in the NBA draft get picked in the top 5 picks? I know a lot of them do. I'm aware. But was Nikola Jokic not a second round pick? Did the Oklahoma City...
Did you know he got drafted during a Taco Bell commercial?
Did SGA not get traded for from Oklahoma City? Was Giannis Antetokounmpo not in the teens when he was drafted? Was Jimmy Butler not the last pick of the first round when the Bulls got him? Like, Draymond Green's a Hall of Famer. Draymond Green was selected in the second round. Steph Curry was the 7th overall pick in the draft, right? If you get the 7th overall pick in the draft, what are you saying? Damn it. You're disappointed. Like, it's this, these NBA teams, they don't have an issue that tanking isn't allowed. They just have an issue that they're incompetent and that they don't know what they're doing, right? And also, too, it's one thing to get the number 1 overall pick, but that's not how you win championships. Getting the number 1 overall pick and getting a superstar is definitely the start, but you got to build around that. That's just part of the job. How many number 1 overall picks have the Minnesota Timberwolves had in the last decade? Anthony Bennett, Andrew Wiggins, Karl Anthony Towns, Anthony Edwards. How many NBA Finals appearances has that given them? None. How many championships have they won with all those number 1 overall picks at one point on their roster? None. The Brooklyn Nets have been in the lottery forever. This isn't like everyone wants to give the tanking solutions and everything like that. I'm going to be honest with you. Who said tanking's a good strategy? It does not work out for most teams who do it. So if I'm an NBA team and I'm like, all right, if you want to focus more so on tanking than you do on having the right people in the front office and having the right coaching staff and having the right player development people and having the right scouting department, you want to focus on tanking more than that, fine, be my guest. We'll just go and operate like a good basketball team. We'll operate like the Oklahoma City Thunder. We'll operate like the Golden State Warriors. That's how we'll operate. You tank.
That would be a good franchise to emulate.
You go and tank. You do your tanking, man. Fine, tank. Have your fans pissed at you. Go and get fined. Do whatever the hell you want. We over here, we're going to operate like a real franchise. And we operate like a real radio show. And on real radio shows, we have guests that we don't know who it's going to be at a certain day, at a certain time. It's called Wacky Guess Wednesday. That's coming up next here on 1620 The Zone.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone. Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Soul.
All right, Josh, take it away. Okay, this week's guest on a Wacky Guest Wednesday, where we bring in a guest who the host has no idea who he's about to talk to.
Yes.
A former defensive lineman at the University of Iowa.
Okay.
He is a frequent contributor to Big Noon Kickoff. Ever heard of it?
Yes, of course.
He is a former champion power lifter. He is the current host of The Evaluation on YouTube, taking a look at the NFL draft, players who are hoping to hear their name called. You can find that on the Sumer Sports YouTube page. Oh, yeah. He's also a former WWE champion. Itor Ewan. You may know him as Big E.
Whoa!
He joins us right now on 1620 The Zone.
Whoa! Big E. Big E Langston, if I will. That's the
Careful.
I'm sorry. The man, the myth, the legend. This is incredible. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. It's a pleasure to talk to you.
It's a pleasure to talk to you too. So my name is Matt McMaster. I host Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone. We do so we're a sports show here in Omaha, but both Josh and I are very, very big fans of WWE. And I'm actually going to the Elimination Chamber next weekend in Chicago. Yeah. So this is absolutely awesome to come here and for you to be on and talk to you. How's your life been, man? I know that you're no longer in the ring. You're no longer wrestling right now. I will be honest with you. Every time we're in the Royal Rumble, I got my fingers crossed and everything like that. But you've been doing some great work, on the panel shows with WWE. How have you been? How was kind of the evolution of just your life from wrestler to being a really, really good contributor on the shows from a panel perspective?
No, I really appreciate that. It's been a lot of fun, honestly. And I think I've just kind of reached the stage of life where I really enjoy having new challenges. And not to say that didn't exist when I was wrestling, but when you do something for a long time, sometimes it can feel a little old hat. But the nice thing is, so much of the work that I'm doing now, right now, is very different for me. So whether it's hosting, whether it's acting or voice acting, as mentioned, I get to sit down. First of all, college football is my first love. I grew up loving wrestling too, but I fell in love with college football. So to be able to sit down with Mike Mayock. So for anyone who knows the draft at all, Mike Mayock, one of the biggest names in the draft. So just to sit with him and talk about these prospects, these former NFL scouts and execs. I got to interview Eli Manning, Joe Thomas, Marshall Faulk, some of the greatest names, and we break down the draft class. So we just had our first episode on quarterback, dropped last week. Episodes drop every single Thursday. We'll be doing that for 10 weeks all the way through pretty much to the NFL draft. So that's been a joy, and it's been a show called The Evaluation. Check it out on YouTube.
Okay.
But I'm really enjoying this phase of life and career because it's allowed me some new challenges.
And we'll get. I have some college football questions to ask you because I know, and you've made that very clear in your career how much you love the game, how much you love the sport, and Big E, it's one of those things where when you came into WWE, you were a mute. You weren't really talking a whole lot. You were the enforcer of Dolph Ziggler, and then you joined the New Day, and not only did were you allowed to talk, you were one of the best talkers. You were an enigma, man. You were charismatic. How was that for you when you joined Xavier Woods, also known as Austin Creed, and Kofi Kingston? You were allowed to show your personality, and then how has that experience allowed you to now, with the evolution, show your personality in media?
Yeah, I tell talent all the time. I tell young wrestlers, look, I get it. Sometimes working on promos isn't what you love, but it has opened so many doors for me because to your point, I came in not being much of a talker. I cringed when I watched some of those early promos because it took me some time to get comfortable, to get my feet wet, just to find my voice. And I try to encourage young talent to work on their promos, to do it in front of a mirror, to keep talking, because I'm so grateful. When I first got into WWE, I really gravitated to the physical side. It was the hitting and the running and the jumping, and that's what I was excited by. But when I started with the New Day, when we really got to dive into creative, and we were essentially, I didn't realize it at the time, but we were writing our own promos, we were directing, we were producing. we're getting to do so much of, when you're on these film sets or getting to do TV, it's a lot of that stuff is stuff I was doing with WWE.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that ability to be able to be comfortable talking, and thank you for the kind words as well.
Of course.
But I was just able to borrow a lot from, I grew up in the church, and in the church, a lot of that, like the Southern church as well, a lot of that delivery. So I was able to kind of borrow from what I used to hear every Sunday. And I actually, when I was a teenager, I did some preaching myself in my dad's church. So I was just able to kind of borrow from my own life and my own experiences and bring that into the ring.
Mm-hmm.
But man, I look back so fondly at the time when we were trying to get the New Day off the ground, and we had some real hardships. It was tough at first, but we got to do something that was unique and inventive. And man, I had so much fun during my career.
Well, it was 2013, if I'm not mistaken, right? That was when you guys started, 2013, the New Day.
2014.
And that was kind of like the peak of when I was into wrestling. That was, the Yes movement and WrestleMania 30. And you guys, you're right. You guys didn't start off too great. People were like, what the heck is this? And then you guys turned heel and you became so entertaining. And Big E, and you already know this, and you guys are going to the Hall of Fame, one of the greatest tag teams of all time. And that's going to be awesome when you guys get that honor. But let's talk about college football, man. You're an Iowa Hawkeye. I know you love your Iowa Hawkeyes. We don't like the Iowa Hawkeyes over here in Omaha, right? We're all about the Nebraska Cornhuskers, but you can't help but respect the program that you guys have been able to build and what Coach Ferentz has been able to do over there. Your inside look into what Iowa might look like this season, and what do you think about LeVar Woods? I know that he's beloved over there, and it's a good move for his career, but just kind of the reaction and your reaction to him going from being your special teams coordinator at Michigan State.
Yeah, I love LeVar. I first met LeVar. He was done playing at Iowa. He's a little bit older than me.
Okay.
But he came back and was working as a GA. And so I was done playing at the time, but I was still on campus. I was in grad school. And I got to interact with LeVar, got to know him and his family. Went to a Thanksgiving party at his house, over 15 years ago. But what he's done with special teams at Iowa, look, we've had some years where we were one of the worst offenses in the country for a few years, and we're still winning 10 games. And that's a large part due to what Phil Parker was doing on the defensive side as the DC, but also what LeVar was doing with special teams. Like we had with Torrey Taylor, with our punting game, with our return game. He truly is one of the best special teams coordinators in the country. I think Michigan State is very, very fortunate to have him. Losing him is going to be it's a big loss, but I'm sure we'll have someone fill in who does an excellent job as well. But I think the program is going to be in really good hands. I think in many ways people looked at our portal class and compared it to kind of what Indiana's done as far as finding a lot of guys on the FCS level with a lot of production and who played it at a high level, maybe on a smaller scale playing FCS football. But as we all know, if you pay attention to football, there are great players on the FCS level, on the D2 level as well. So I really like what we're building. And honestly, I know I'm talking to Nebraskans right now, and this rivalry has very quickly become heated. But it's been one that I think it's like we didn't play Nebraska when I was playing. Nebraska was in the Big 12 at the time, but very quickly this thing feels like a real rivalry. I love that it's the Black Friday game after Thanksgiving. It's been a lot of fun, and although it's very between fan bases, I think it's been a lot of fun to watch the Cornhuskers play my Hawkeyes and see where that goes. Thankfully, we've had a good run of things the last few years.
But, you don't have to remind us about that in any way, shape, or form. I'm gonna ask you two more questions here, Biggie. I'll ask you one college football one and one wrestling one. This is absolutely awesome. The Evaluation, that is your new podcast. It's with Mike Mayock. You guys breaking down NFL draft prospects, breaking down college prospects. I'm excited to see you because we're merging your two skills, right? Being a charismatic guy who's great in front of the camera, but also your passion for college football. In this early process of you looking at draft prospects, is there a one guy that maybe is a little under the radar that you love right now that you're like, not enough people are talking about this dude? I think this dude can make a big impact on the NFL level.
He's got a lot of love right now, but I will say I don't think Lee Hunter at Texas Tech.
Okay.
A lot of people are casual, fan. A lot of people, you're going to look at edge rushers, you're going to look at tackles, you'll look at your wide receivers, your quarterback. But I'm telling you, I love Lee Hunter's game. He's going to be a guy who's a game wrecker inside, defensive tackle out of Texas Tech. I think Texas Tech had arguably the best defensive line in the country, maybe right next to Miami. But they had some great edge rushers who got a lot of love and who are going to go fairly high in the draft. But I think a lot of that is due to what Lee Hunter did on the inside. I think a lot of people who know and who really pay attention. As a former defensive tackle, I love watching DTs. And the way he plays the position, I think he is going to make a real difference on the next level. He's a big body who can really push the pocket. He is disruptive. He's not just a space eater, but he's a guy who can go out there and make plays in the run game. He can really push the pocket. Just a true talent, a game wrecker on the defensive line, and a guy that I really love watching play this season.
Biggie, I'd be remiss to ask you. I mean, you know, Josh introduced you, gave you a great intro, but you just weren't in the WWE. You just weren't, you know, a wrestler in the WWE. You were WWE champion, man. WWE champion. You were at the top of the heap, at the top of the business. And, you know, if things went a certain way, you without a doubt would still be there. But it's one of those things, man, where you did something that little kids and dream of. They close their eyes and they're like, I became the WWE champion. How often, you know, do you think of that, and how often do you kind of relive that moment of winning that title? Because, and also too, man, it's not like you just were given that thing. You were a manager of Dolph Ziggler, then you were the third guy in a tag team, then you kind of were, you know, put into the single spotlight, and people go, okay, I wonder how this is going to work out. You worked your way, man, to go and get it. And I mean, how often do you just kind of sit back and say, man, I did that?
Yeah, you know, I'm someone who I'm so appreciative for everything I've been able to accomplish and do in my career. But honestly, in many ways, I'm not someone who sits back and reflects and pats myself on the back. But I will also say I am so grateful for that opportunity. It really, in many ways, changed my life. And just the outpouring of love I got from fans, it's truly for me what makes it so special. There's so many fans reached out. It took me, when I won the title, it took me 3 days to get back to everyone who reached out. There's so much love.
Yeah.
And I felt the same love when I broke my neck. I had so many people reach out and say so many lovely things, whether they were peers, whether they were fans, whether they were friends, people from all walks of life. And I think, you know, that acknowledgement from fans, and so many people, you know, we'll still to this day, we'll talk about being there in Boston. We'll talk about what that moment meant, that pop. That for me is what I think is so meaningful. Is, you know, we work so hard in our business to have moments that people can remember forever, or the moments that really stick with them. So, you know, championships, they're meaningful. They mean something, but it really is about creating those moments where people can connect, where they remember, where they talk about for years to come. And if I was able to provide those moments for our fans, that's what I'm truly grateful for. I had so much fun in the ring. There were so many times where I knew I was exactly where I was supposed to be, where I felt like this was my calling. And look, I was a guy who was a failed former defensive tackle at Iowa who played one season in a backup role. I had a bunch of injuries. I'm not tall. I don't come from a long lineage of other wrestlers. There are so many reasons I feel incredibly blessed to have gotten the opportunities I got. So, you know, a lot of people can talk about my career being cut short and wanting to see more from me. But I will say I truly think I was immensely blessed to have all the opportunities I got. So more than anything, like when I think of my time in the ring, I am grateful. I'm so grateful to get to perform in front of fans. I tell people I wrestled Randy Orton in South Africa. I wrestled RVD in South Africa. I've been to Japan a half dozen times. I've wrestled in Europe more times than I can count. What a charmed and blessed life I've been able to lead. And now still getting to continue that on the broadcasting side has been a real blessing. So, I'm really grateful for all of it.
Well, Biggie, I got to stop talking about you in the past tense, man, because you are the future, man. Seriously, like what you do in media, and I can't wait to see what you do with this evaluation podcast with Mike Mayock and what you continue. Are you going to be at the Elimination Chamber?
Yes, I will be there in Chicago.
All right, great. Well, maybe I'll come to the panel and I'll try and yell your name. We'll sneak a picture or something like that. But man, like, thank you so much for coming on. You are so good at what you do. I can't wait to listen to your YouTube channel, to everything like that. And I understand the wrestling career got cut short, but this media career and this media jump that journey you're about to go on, you're continuing to go on right now. It's gonna be awesome, dude, because you're gonna kill it. You really are, and you already are killing it. So thank you so much for coming on to Middays with Matt.
No, truly my pleasure. Enjoy the chamber, and hopefully we can get that picture. I would love to say hello.
Okay.
But sincerely, thank you so much for the kind words.
Of course, man. Seriously, you were a big. I'm 23. You were a big part of my childhood. You're a big part of why I loved wrestling. So this is awesome to talk to you, my dude.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much, my man.
You have a great one. Big E.
I'm waiting. Waiting for those 3 little words every radio producer wants to hear.
I love you.
That wasn't what I was thinking of, but that's good too. Good get, Josh.
Great get.
Great get. Wow.
You are a beast. You are an animal.
Yeah. Really is all about me this last segment.
I don't know, man. I didn't mean to turn into I didn't love the whole you used to be part. But at the same time, if you don't know about Big E already, man, that guy has done an incredible job broadcasting. He's only going to continue to do incredible things. He's only going to continue to be on more shows and in front of your television and everything like that. That dude is a stud to the highest degree, was a stud in the wrestling ring, will be a stud on television. The Evaluation on YouTube. Go ahead, watch him. Him, Mike Mayock, along with others, breaking down draft prospects. I'll tell you right now, he is going to do so well at that.
Got the link to the first episode with Eli Manning
Alrighty.
on our Twitter page. So just go to Middays with Matt. It's right there.
Dude, Josh Odson, forever in debt to you, am I? Because that was really, really cool. We only go downhill from here.
Yeah, there's 20, 25, 30 minutes left of the show. I don't know what you want to do. You just want to coast on our good looks until then?
Kind of. That's
Okay.
what we're going to try. Well, we got other things to talk about. We have the
okay, we
Olympics
do?
to talk about. We have Nebraska basketball to talk about. Creighton basketball plays tonight. We'll touch on that.
People forget.
We got some baseball. We got a lot of things. A lot of things to do in our last 25 minutes here on Middays with Matt.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone. Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Is it a good thing that we might have peaked in like the 6th week of the show?
I mean, it's probably not a good thing, no, if we're being honest with each other, which I think we should be.
We should be. We should be open and honest. That's the one policy we have here. And in terms of being open and being honest, we want to report Mark did call in for a third time.
Was it as fun as the last two? Because he's not on hold. No spoiler alert. He's not on hold.
No, we cannot.
We're not going to go to him. He's not going to follow Big E if you missed it. Radio replayed at 1620thezone.com.
You should go and listen to it. Mark's first call was pretty subdued. You know, it was pretty normal. It was pretty good. I mean, there's some things there. And then he called in a second time, and clearly things had taken a turn for something. But what a show we've had. Go ahead. By the way, we want to make you aware of a couple of things going on right now at 1620 The Zone. You can enter online at 1620thezone.com for your chance to win a year's supply of Girl Scout cookies, brought to you by the Girl Scout Spirit of Nebraska. The Girl Scout season runs from now until March 15th, with cookie booths starting, and they already started a week ago. And if you didn't get your significant other anything good enough for Valentine's Day, I'll tell you right now, if you want to make it up to them, go and get a bunch of Girl Scout cookies.
That's actually a good
be like, hey,
little tip, Matt.
Hey, partner, I'm so sorry that I didn't live up to the billing of Valentine's Day. Here are some Girl Scout cookies. Here's some Explore Moors, which is a Rocky Road ice cream cookie.
That was a good one. Had that one.
Have you?
Yeah.
I haven't had any Girl Scout.
There was a box around the office when there's a new cookie debuting. The Girl Scouts of America are very good at giving them to people who work in radio.
Sure.
Because we'll talk about it. Why the hell not? And yeah, that was a good one.
Go ahead and you can enter at 1620thezone.com for a chance to win yourself some Girl Scout cookies from the Girl Scouts of America. We also, while you're there, while you're there at 1620thezone.com trying to win some Girl Scout cookies, don't forget to enter yourself into the Get Your S Together sweepstakes for $5,000.
Got to do that.
Got to do that. If you're there at 1620 Zone, when in Rome, right? I'm here for Girl Scout cookies, but I might as well enter in for a chance to win $5,000. So there you go. A couple updates here. Sidney Crosby during that Team Canada game where they won in overtime against Czechia, injured his knee. He was ruled out for the rest of the game. We will now we are on Sydney watch, if you will. And we're not talking about Australia.
We're not talking about Sydney Sweeney.
No,
either.
God, no.
Okay.
I don't think. Are you going to watch Wuthering Heights, by the way?
Maybe when it comes to streaming.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Isn't that just every movie that isn't a Nolan at this point?
It's happening a lot more.
Wow.
For me personally.
Or like unless it's like a Paul Thomas Anderson.
PTA.
There's I feel
OBAA.
like nowadays I'm not watching movies, I'm watching directors.
Okay.
Have we taken, I wouldn't know this. Do you think we've taken more of a slant towards watching films fully based on directors than we were in the past?
Yeah,
is that a shift at all that you've seen? Because this is your area of expertise.
There was probably a run in the late 90s, early 2000s where it was like, oh man, you got to go see the new Spielberg. You got to go see the new Ridley Scott. You got to go see the new Robert Zemeckis. And then that kind of faded away and a new crop is back up and running with, Scorsese still working pretty consistently, PTA, Nolan.
Yeah. I just feel, yesterday I went to Village Point and I went to Shields because I love Shields. And they got a nice.
You really do. That's not. It's not a bit.
No, it's not a bit at all. Like there's no bit. Like what happened yesterday is I have had a lunch that I've been meaning to have with somebody for like a week now, and for whatever reason I thought the lunch was yesterday, and so I was on my way to that lunch, and that lunch was going west, and on my way west, realizing this lunch is actually supposed to happen tomorrow, not today. I was like, well, I'm already going west.
Okay.
I might as well just go the extra 15 minutes to Shields. to walk around. And I walked around and I ended up with a golf club, shoes, and tips for darts. Like plastic dart tips. I know. I mean, it's crazy, man. You can get anything you want there. The world is your oyster at Shields.
Matt
I don't know
McMaster
why.
here for
I
Shields.
see. I don't know why. No, I shouldn't sound like I'm doing an advertisement.
Oh, no, I just want to be crystal clear. You're not.
Yeah, we're not sponsored by anybody.
I just walk around the quarter zips, and then I'm like, okay, what else? And then my kid's like, let's look at everything else. I'm like, man, do we really have to?
We want to make it very clear. We are not sponsored by anybody.
No.
But
could be by you.
By you? You think of, I mean, come on now.
Listen to Matt's passionate description of Shields.
And I'm not even getting paid for it.
What if it was your business he was passionate about?
Dude, if you were giving me money, I'd be all about you. And I love it.
I want some more of it.
There you go. By the way, we are in like cap reconstructing season.
Cap casualty season.
Which, by the way, we are in the dead of like, we are just reaching and grabbing for anything to talk about on our NFL podcast because people have promised to do NFL podcasts year round. And so now we're doing full segments on, I wonder where Malik Willis will go.
Oh, God. Dolphins honks, you got to shut the hell up. Well, I think Malik Willis would really, it would be a secret tank. Like
a secret tank?
Why? It would not be that secret, by the way.
I don't think
if you sign Malik Willis,
he might be.
Where's Malik Willis going to go?
He's not like, we shouldn't make Malik Willis's bad jokes, but you know, and he was
Titans fan here. I'm allowed to say this.
Okay, that's a good point. He was a second round pick.
Mid as hell.
I thought you got to be careful with when you say as. It sounds like another word with an extra S.
Took us.
Ooh. Are we a Took Us show?
I think if any show on 1620 The Zone is a Took Us show, it's us.
But aren't we the horniest show? And that doesn't really show our
okay.
If you will.
Uh-huh.
We'll have to rework that. Maybe Nathan on the itty bitty bit committee.
Yeah, help us. I feel like we got an A and a C. We just need to get to.
By the way, I've gotten 17 emails from Seth today. Seth, I love you. Your day is tomorrow. Poll question day is tomorrow.
No, Seth is 24/7, 365. He's here for us.
Mr. Poll, if you will.
Mr. Poll.
By the way, so we're talking about Malik Willis and will he go to Pittsburgh or will he go to Miami? Which, you know, not to won't affect the Super Bowl, but you know, you get where I'm getting at. Patrick Mahomes has reconstructed his contract.
Yeah, made a lot of room for the Chiefs, right?
Dude. The restructuring, first reported Wednesday by Over the Cap, converts $54.4 million of Mahomes' 2026 salary into a signing bonus and lowers the star quarterback's cap number to $34.65 million. So it created, you ready for this? It created $43.65 million in cap space for the Chiefs. It marks
big restructure.
Dude, it marks the fourth consecutive year that Kansas City restructured Mahomes' contract.
Oh.
So now they enter the offseason with more than $57 million in cap. So they got a long way to go. Okay. But still, also too, like that Mahomes deal, like, what was it, 10 years, $400 million at the time when he signed it. But then people keep telling me, I've heard this sentence a lot. Well, Patrick Mahomes makes however much Patrick Mahomes wants to make, which.
What does that mean?
I know. No one's really explained that to me.
Like, I know it's a soft cap, but like you got to report a number.
You have to do your taxes.
This isn't Kawhi Leonard.
Which, by the way, I guess so. I've been listening to too much Bill Simmons. Maybe you can tell in how I've been hosting these radio shows. But he is like, basically, he's not even hinting at things. He's just like, yeah, we'll probably find out about the Kawhi stuff in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So look out for that.
He knows Pablo's doing work.
Is Pablo, have you seen much of Pablo recently?
He's the only one that I know reporting on this.
Okay. So you've watched The Post, right? With Meryl Streep and Tom Hanks?
Oh, yeah.
Over Watergate?
Yeah.
Well, it led to Watergate. So there's a scene in that movie where Meryl or Tom Hanks says to Meryl, well, this specific writer, he hasn't published in 3 months. He's working on something. Like he's quiet. This isn't good. He's knee deep in something. We should be prepared. We should be, something's coming. I feel like Pablo Torre is like is the only person I feel that way about. Where if Pablo ain't, dude, Pablo's too quiet. That is the thing. If we're going 6 weeks without Mr. Torre not releasing anything, I would be very worried if I had any skeletons in the closet.
When would be the most advantageous time for him to release something? Updating us on Kawhi Leonard. Start of the playoffs? End of the season? I kind of would have thought the All-Star break.
Maybe Pablo Torre is just we just call him Jaws. That's just what he is. He's just always sneaking up.
We'd have to clear it with the Jaworski estate, but we could work on that.
We're gonna need a bigger tax form. That's what aspirations say. We're gonna need more compromised records. Do you know what's not a compromised record? Dog of the day.
Dog.
It hit yesterday, baby.
Dog.
SMU over Louisville. Go Stangs. We tell you what to watch for and what our bet tonight will be to go back to back. Dog of the day. Trending in the right direction. I'm going to kill your bookmaker.
Dog.
Coming up next on Middays with Matt.
Dog.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Middays with Matt here at 1620 Zone. Been a heck of a show, man. This has been fun. Last couple of days have been really fun between myself and Josh Odson. Keeping it rolling here. Going to lead into USC here in a couple of minutes in the crossover. And then USC today will go till 5:30 and we'll lead right into the broadcast of your Creighton Blue Jays taking on the UConn Huskies in Stores, Connecticut. Josh Odson along with Creighton men's basketball. What are we watching tonight?
Yes, with the NBA and the NHL on hiatus right now. Not much, Matt, but here's what I got. We got the Creighton game, as you said, on TNT at 6 o'clock. Coverage begins on 1620 The Zone at 5:30. We'll go inside the arena right then and there. No shoot around today. John Bishop takes you inside the arena on 101.9 The Keg as well. And number 20, Arkansas. Number 25, Alabama. It just means more at 6 o'clock on ESPN. Number 23, BYU, desperately wanting to get back into that Big 12 regular season race. They're at number 4, Arizona tonight, 8 o'clock on ESPN. Late night tip in the Big 10, number 10, Illinois at USC, 9 o'clock on BTN. One even later than that, number 11, Gonzaga at the Dons of San Francisco.
Oh, wow.
10 o'clock on ESPN2. Olympic hockey, USA versus Sweden in the men's game. Supposed to start at 2 o'clock, but both games ahead of them went to overtime. Ooh. So I imagine it's going to be a little later than maybe 2:30, 3 o'clock now. But it'll be on NBC when they do start. And Matt, you might need to cover your ears for this because if you tune into the men's hockey game on Peacock,
what are you saying?
In the third period, Snoop Dogg will be in the booth with the commentators.
Are you kidding me?
I am kidding you not.
In the third period?
The third period.
Put him in the second period.
That would be my producer mind as well.
What are they doing? It's Sweden in the Olympics.
It's an elimination game. You might not want Snoop to be there in the third period.
Who are we playing, Remmer?
Primetime in Milan tonight on NBC. Cross-country skiing, the women's team sprint final, men's slope-style final in snowboarding, and the women's slalom final in skiing. Michaela Schifrin looks to medal again for the first time in 12 years. That's your main event tonight in Milan.
Milan, darling, Milan. Everybody loves Milan, unless you're the Canadians in curling.
All right, folks, let's talk right now. I'm going to kill your bookmaker. I'm going to rip his throat out. I will blow this man out. I will step on his throat until the man chokes. Let me tell you how. Dog. Winners. Dog. Winners. Dog. Winners. Dog. Winners. Dog. Winners. I'm on a roll.
Dude, you got to love dogs, right?
Hey, we are on a roll. Last week, we went 3-2. This week, 1-1, trying to keep it going. Oklahoma's on the road. They're taking on the Tennessee Volunteers. The Sooners, after not winning a game for over a month, have rattled off 2 in a row, one of which a ranked win against Vanderbilt. And then last week, a popcorn fire did not stop Porter Mosier and the boys from defeating the Georgia Bulldogs. They're at 11.5 point underdog tonight. Let's lower that line a little bit. Let's put it at plus 8.5. Oklahoma keeps it rolling against the Volunteers. They don't win, but they do cover. That's your dog of the day here on Middays with Matt. It's been a great midday here on 1620 Zone. Coming up next, we talk in the crossover to Michael Severe and Josh Peterson on sportsmanlike conduct coming up next.